Futures little change once again this morning, coming off a sharp sell-off we saw late in the day yesterday following the Fed decision, and more importantly, the comments that followed on how the Fed was going to approach tightening not only their bond purchases, but also the first increase in interest rates coming as soon as the March meeting. The next one set for the end of March. So markets had a bit of a sell-off after that press conference from Fed Chair Powell. The Dow ended the day down 129 yesterday after being up as much as 500 points at one point during the session. The S&P 0.2 to the downside. The NASDAQ, I mean, end of the day, little change, but most of that was due to Microsoft and Microsoft earnings. Individually this morning, we'll have a look at Netflix back to the upside once again. Bill Ackman calling it a value play now for Netflix. We'll talk about that. Tesla obviously reported. Intel reported. We'll talk about both coming up here. We also got initial jobless claims just out there at 8:30. In line with expectations, 260,000 versus 260 expected. GDP, Q4 GDP, 6.9%. versus 5.5% expected. So a big beat there for Q4 GDP number. Going to be an interesting session here. It's Thursday, January 27th, 2022. TraderTV.live starts now. There we go. Yeah, look at positive numbers. Good to see. NASDAQ leading the way once again, 0.73 right now to the upside. S&P 0.5%, the Dow about 0.2. Positive though, right top to bottom. Ethereum leading the way at the bottom there for cryptocurrencies, 2% right now to the upside. As I mentioned there, if you missed it, Q4 GDP number just out 6.9%. versus 5.5 expected. So a decent beat there on that GDP number, as I mentioned as well. Initial jobless claims from last week in line, 260 versus 260 expected. So here we go. The day after, good morning guys, the day after the Fed, we have positive markets. Looks pretty good so far.
Yeah, it does. And it's like, well, we were just talking about Tesla not really moving much. Like you would think it was AMD that had the earnings. Like AMD went 105 to 107. Of course, his news with Xilinx. But Tesla on the mean hand, whatever.
On the mean hand, yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. But Tesla on the other hand is just sitting here barcoding, doing nothing. Now, obviously, there were fireworks aftermarket. Had the plunge, it came right back, and now we're sort of going sideways, like we said. But there's a heck of a lot to digest here. You got a great GDP number, economy looking strong, obviously. But at the same time, like you didn't get the certainty the markets wanted out of Mr. Powell there, and I think the one positive sign was it did seem like they're going to go with the one more round of asset purchases and then let it run off. But there's open interpretation as to when they'll actually allow that runoff to happen. Like who knows? We know we'll get a rate hike in March next meeting. I guess that's what we know for sure. But yeah, the markets didn't really love what Powell had to say, and it was a crazy fall to the downside there after he spoke. But that's actually earnings for Tesla after he spoke. Almost everything was getting hit and clapped to the downside. It's good to see that there are a lot of names recovering this morning. Like, $7 bottom to top on AMD's is pretty enticing there, and Xilinx is, of course, running a little bit. But there's a lot of earnings to get to as well. And after the bell today, we get Apple.
Meanwhile.
Yeah, I know.
Someone said on the meme hand, on the other meme hand or something like that.
It's the first coffee, man. I don't know.
I thought I tweeted out the sticky note here. Did I? Yeah, I did. Okay, good. Just wondering if I did or not. Okay, yeah, because the reason why I didn't find it on my Twitter here. I don't know what's going on. It must be there. Meanwhile, here it is. Okay, the reason I just don't want to say this is because it's exactly what you just said there. And I said I'd rather trade Rivian and Ford over Tesla today. So that was the same. We have the same sort of thoughts on that one. And the reason why, Ford is rocking and rolling up 1.56%, already doing 1.3 million shares and rocking right now. So, I like Ford here at these levels, breaking through 2050. We were long Ford yesterday, boom, boom, 2 for 2 on this idea. Reloaded it at 20, reloaded it at, 2015 again. We'll see if we can get that price today. But again, it moved down in the afternoon as everything crashed down off of Fed yesterday, and then really not too much movement on Tesla news, but Ford up 1.6%, which is pretty spicy for me. So I really like this $20.50 level there. And then on Rivian, we'll talk about this as we go, but I also like an idea of a short into this area, 66, 67. So we'll see if we get back up there. But for me, Tesla will probably be a pass today. Well, I mean, who knows? You never want.
It's got to do something.
You never want to say that, but right now we got to be better to look at an Intel and AMD, something that's actually moving here, Brendo.
Yeah, Neil and I were saying that it's going to be one of those days where, yeah, it was a great report, but not doing anything. So we're going to have to. Tesla's going to have to show you its hand. I was just reading a note here on Facebook, guys, or Meta platforms. So it looks like the EU has approved a deal, their acquisition of this customer, which is a SaaS CRM company. Not much of a reaction here, but worth a note for FB. Before we go too much further, let's bring in Miss V, ready to go in the chat once again.
Hey guys, happy trading to you all. I wish you a great, profitable day. Please make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel. And let's get it started, Brandon.
Yeah, let's get it started, guys. Lots to work our way through here. Yeah, so that they're waiting for, I guess, EU approval on this deal. So it's customer with a K, which again is a SaaS CRM type company. So heads up on Meta. Also want to mention this one because Trader Prad and Miss V yesterday were talking about this during their show. There's that SumUp and Groupon story from Barron's. This SumUp, which is a payment processing firm from the UK, new funding round at 22.6 billion valuation. Basically makes Groupon's 5% stake, worth tenfold what it was at one point. So that caused a big move in Groupon yesterday. Not doing anything here in the pre-market, but monster move for Groupon yesterday.
Well, I mean, at that valuation, and of course, look, they own a stake and they're going to raise money at that valuation. You can judge the company on its performance in the future, and so I'm not going to be able to say whether that's great or not, or whether that's legitimate. It's a number, and what everyone's going to be concerned about here, not concerned about, or interested in, is Groupon's at like 800, I think, and like that put it $1 billion. That stake would be worth over $1 billion. And I think that makes a value people see in Groupon for a potential to break out. So I'm looking at it today. I wish there was volume in the pre-market, but there's absolutely nothing happening with it. But when you put a move in like that, I've made the mistake before of seeing a stock move like this on news, and then you come in the next day in the pre-market and there's not a lot of activity because it pulled back and there's not much action, money's going elsewhere, eyes are elsewhere, but it held a higher low and you got the same support at 26 on Groupon. So that's what I'm eyeballing. If it can hold that up, I think it has a decent chance to maybe break that top. And if you look at the daily chart on Groupon, I mean, look, it's got all kinds of support down around that $20 area. It's broken the 50. It attempted to make the break out of the bottom end of the range yesterday. That was $28. You're essentially sitting there with yesterday's support at 26 and the top today, that same 28 level from previous. It really does set itself up for a second run. So I'm going to be looking at Groupon today. I wish there was a little bit more activity. Maybe we'd try something in the pre-market. And if you see me at ADRS, or ARDS, man, I got to finish this coffee. I'm essentially scalping it between 30 and 20 for now, although it does have good news. It is on the watch list.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and lie and even look at Groupon, so I don't have any interest in that name. I'm going to stick with some of the names on the sticky note here and just continue to watch those names. But Groupon, no. Maybe McDonald's, yes. McDonald's got hit down 2.1% off earnings. We can see, again, supply chain, some issues here, down 2.1%. McDonald's is one of those names that's really, oh yeah, I don't have my daily chart up, is one of those names that has held up pretty good. But in the last, again, if you look at the last 2-3 weeks, you had a high of 270. That's an all-time high. We've only retraced back down to 250, but today it gets hit on earnings. McDonald's might be a sell right here.
Yeah, I saw that MCD reported in the pre-market here. I was also going to mention MasterCard. We were talking about AXP earlier in the week. It's MasterCard's turn this time. They reported here in the pre-market down, I mean, yeah, it's 1.5%, but it was the forecast that came up a little bit shy for MasterCard. I mean, similar to American Express, it was a little bit light, but a little bit different look as far as the overall move here for MA.
Oh, what's up?
Yeah, Raheem in the house.
Yeah, I know, catching us dabbing him up and everything like
It's all good. It's all good, man. The brothers in the house.
I have a problem when Raheem comes in the house because then all of a sudden, like, you know, the handsomeness level just gets
Well, what are you
stepped
supposed
up,
to do?
like, and then it's like, that's why, I mean, you can see I'm wearing my all black. You know, I got the Johnny Cash. I'm trying to compete a little bit here on that.
I love Johnny Cash.
There's not, yeah, I mean, there's not much we can do when Raheem's in the building. So other than listen to
Black is the new green. When Valeria wore the
and
black
40, and when
last
what, 40 is the new 20? That's what you're going to tell me as well, Neil?
42 is the new 20.
42. Ooh.
You know what's up. Look,
Yeah.
MasterCard hasn't done a
I
ton
don't even
of
know what we
volume.
were talking about.
We like we like American Express more than we like MasterCard. I think that's what we want to say, probably. I don't know if it's going to be tradable today, but I will point out if it does make a pop, the 50 period's right at $350, which is a round number as well. So I really don't see it running $10 today, but if it does, that will be an area of resistance. It's probably not going to get there. Maybe something to monitor the next couple of days. But yeah, MasterCard, a bit of a different story from American Express. Ooh, Tesla just moved.
Yeah, I really like. I'm just fixing up my charts here, but I've really liked American Express for a while. Talked about that. They had a great earnings report. I think one of the top companies that have actually reported beats and guided forward and things like that. I'm a big fan of American Express. I think that's the one you want to buy. I would like dump everything and just buy American Express. If you're in Visa or MasterCard, don't even wait for those reports or anything like that. I would just like get into AXP, and I think you'll be fine. I love it as a reopen play.
All right, let's continue along here, guys. We'll bring in our friend Raheem Alani, Managing Director of OCI Group's going to look at some Canadian opportunities in a interesting environment right now, as we've been discussing, obviously, with the move from the Fed yesterday, basically confirming that the first interest rate hike is going to come in March south of the border. Typically, that means that soon thereafter we'll get the same thing here in Canada. So interest rates not as severe, or I should say inflation, not as severe in this country versus the U.S. First of all, good to see you.
Likewise.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah, as I was saying, the inflation problem not as severe here as it is in the U.S., but still worth keeping in mind some of these opportunities that may arise from an interest rate hike that's going to come most likely in the next Bank of Canada meeting.
Right. Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of inflation issues. Canada typically, we sort of go back to mining energy as hedges against what's going to happen with inflation. You've got, crypto as another place that people can go to. The banks are always safe. So inflationary pressures definitely are going to be something that are going to be with us for the next medium term.
Yep.
And depending on how many hikes, we're hearing, 3 hikes over the course of the next year,
yep,
and what that does to stocks. I mean, the good thing is for people like us that are in the equities markets, there's not a lot of money that's going to go into the bond markets with this, which is great. So money will still flow in the equity markets, but like you just said off camera, Tesla bounces around all day and then ends up right where it started again,
exactly.
right? So to call equities are obviously difficult to do, but at least the money I think will stick around on the equity side versus
yep,
going into the bonds.
Yep.
But there are some opportunities on the equity side with inflationary movements for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, they asked Fed Chair Powell yesterday, essentially, would he rule out anything more than 3 or 4 interest rates to come this year? And he wouldn't even rule out, not raising rates at every meeting going forward until the end of the year. And if you're counting, that's 7. There's still 7 meetings to come this year. So it remains to be seen how that will play out.
There's a prop bet there for sure, right? 3.5 over
Definitely, definitely. Let's talk about some stocks here. Retail, not typically, a sector that is affected overall. I mean, people have been sitting on so much money during COVID and have, lots of interest in spending it. So retail, an interesting look.
Yeah, so I think we've talked about retail a couple of times over the last 6 months and the opportunities in retail. Companies that were affected positively or not affected by negatively by the supply chain issues, and people just going back into the market and spending this excess cash that they've got. But with inflationary pressures, you've got to look at movements on where commodity or where just prices of goods go, right? So what we think is an opportunity to look at is on the lower, the less elastic names. So if you've got excess cash, maybe you're not going to go to Saks and spend it. You're going to go to maybe a Dollarama, not to use that parallel, but for a higher priced good, you might say, listen, let me just go to the Dollarama and pick up a lower priced version of the same widget, right? So you maybe look at those names that have less elasticity to them.
Speaking of Dollarama, I don't know if we have that chart, guys, but I mean a decent look still, even with this move back to the downside in the overall market.
Right. Yeah, like Dollarama has been a name. Like people in Canada, it's our equivalent of the Dollar Trees and Dollar Generals of the world. It's still under actually covered relative to the other dollar stores. Like in the U.S., Dollar Generals announced just last week that they're going to put up another 3,000 stores to add to their 18,000 stores. So they're going to get to 21,000 stores in the U.S. In Canada, Dollarama is still just touching around 2,000 stores. 46 to 64 bucks in the last year. It's obviously had a nice move up. And again, with inflationary pressure not being the same, it's going to have a bit of an effect on where things go. But I think people will start coming into the Dollarama names, and a good PE number there as well.
The other one, Aritzia, which is, we'll play the Canadian card here a little bit, a Canadian company, obviously, but a very positive story on the retail side in general, but one that benefits from this same storyline.
Yeah, no, exactly. And again, we had talked about Aritzia previously. It's a name that had less effect off the supply chain issues and people coming back online, shopping more. They spent a lot of money on their online presence and in the U.S. So a lot of people were going back into Aritzia, so we could expect good numbers from them coming up. And again, it's just, if you look at it from a macro point of view, you're going to have a select smaller number of people going to an Aritzia, but a lot of people are going to go into the Dollarama stores. So it just depends on which way you want to play that consumer spending angle.
Yeah, and again, a nice looking daily chart for Aritzia as well. Obviously, the banks need to be talked about here because of interest rates. I mean, plain and simple.
Yeah, and again, with interest rates changing at some point in the near term, banks are definitely the biggest beneficiaries of this move. And the other thing to bear in mind is just that with both countries, Canada and the U.S., taking the reins off of share buybacks to banks and dividends increasing because of all this excess cash that they've been plowed into the system, banks are now starting to look at putting out higher dividends and share buybacks. So look at, again, if you're interested in the banks, look at which banks might be on pace to do that. I
mean, we can look at a couple here. There's obviously a few that trade both sides of the border, which is nice for anyone who's watching along in the U.S. So RY, BMO, TD. I mean, the charts all look relatively similar. Yeah. But three of the top four banks here.
Yeah, and again, the banks have that opportunity. Now, the only thing, again, if you want to get into the segmentation of the different banks, like Royal Bank's picked up 50% of its revenue off of capital markets, insurance, things like that, versus TD, they're generating more profit or revenue off of their credit card partnerships and going into different verticals on the commercial side. Both Royal Bank and TD would be familiar to our friends in the States because of arena naming rights and branches and offices that they're opening in the States. So those two are probably going to be more familiar to people there. BMO's also done a really good job in penetrating into the Midwestern market. So again, I wouldn't say pick your poison, but if you do like the banks, then those are sort of three of the ones that have opportunities and have increased their dividend payouts in recent weeks.
I was just going to double check. I don't know if you know this offhand, but we obviously got bank earnings in the U.S. already. Yeah. I don't believe Canadian banks have reported yet.
Still next month.
Yeah, February. So I was just seeing Royal is February 22nd. Yeah. So going to be later on in the month. Overall, though, just a note maybe on the state of the economy in this side of the border versus what's happening globally. Overall, I think we're in a pretty good position.
I believe Canada does stand to reason that it does. Canada's always sort of been that place that's a safer jurisdiction, lower risk, lower volatility. So we do, they get a cold in the States, we sneeze, and that's sort of the analogy that works up here. And again, there are different fundamentals that go into our banking and financial systems. We've got 5 banks the big 5 versus 300 that you can choose from in the States. And again, you've got stocks like you guys just talked about, Amex and MasterCard, and you've got these different places to allocate money on an inflation play. Yeah. Right? And that's not necessarily the same thing here. Like we've got $1 store versus several dollar stores there. There's actually a Go Public that's coming up in a couple of weeks here for a Mexican dollar store that'll be interesting to talk about. So there's a lot of opportunities in the Canadian market, but again, heavier skewed onto the resources side, as we know.
The other side of the story, I know you didn't put this in the notes this morning, but the mining sector and gold specifically, there was a move in gold yesterday off of that Fed announcement. Right. Worth keeping them in mind always.
Yeah, no, the golds are always a storage of value, right? So people always believe that gold will correlate to inflation and interest rates at a high level. But again, depending on where you play in the schism of stocks, if you want to go correlation, then you go with the Barricks and the Agnicos of the world. If you want to go straight correlation to the price of gold, if you want to look at some of the smaller names out there where you can sort of have that opportunity for a larger delta return based off the price of gold, based off maybe them being acquisition targets, maybe on them going into production. Those are different ways to bifurcate your risk tolerance.
Always good to understand the higher time frame picture and the macro picture of what is happening overall and how it's going to affect the market. So a few ideas to take forward going into the future here as we, you know, I mean, 2018 was the last time they raised interest rates in the U.S. So it's
like
been a while.
That was like 6 weeks ago.
It's been a while. Yeah, I mean, it feels like it, but you know, very different environment, obviously, with everything that's happened. But always great to see you, Rahim Alani, Managing Director of OCI Groups here in Toronto. A few ideas, guys, going into 2022.
Yeah, I mean, the contrast in the banks is an interesting one in Canada. We talk about it here. Sorry, we just had ABX as they were talking about a Barrick just a second ago.
Okay,
But we talk about the differentiation between like your pure lenders and then certainly some of the trading banks and with your Morgans and your BACs. But you get a similar thing because what we're showing, I look, I own shares of TD Bank, so I'm still a bit self-serving. But you looked at Royal, and that's a name that was down like almost 8% from its highs, whereas TD sitting about 4% from the top here, looking like it opened just above $100. But they've been stronger, and if you look at the comparison U.S. to Canadian banks, it's just a little bit more traditional, and I think faring a heck of a lot better in this particular environment. So a lot of times you'll hear us say like the word bank, but we do. You know, we're in Canada, so we are sometimes talking about the Canadian banks. TD has a lot of U.S. exposure, and there has been a lot of, you know, acquisitions of smaller banks in the States as Canadian banks have expanded. That's one of the benefits, I think, to TD. They're also listed in the U.S. markets as well. But yeah, we can't sleep on those. They're definitely a segment. And actually, while this was going on, Tesla did make. We were joking around saying that Tesla was doing absolutely nothing this morning, and yeah, it made a small move. Like it's not. Like I'm not, you know, writing it off or anything, but I'm putting it in perspective. Like it made like a $10 move to the upside. But when you consider that Tesla, if you count the pre-market bottom from the Fed top, that was over $100 of price action from the top. And then, I mean, when Powell actually started the Q&A, I guess it was a little bit lower than that, but it's still like $100 top to bottom. That was a heck of a lot of movement packed into a couple of hours. So when it pops $10 in the pre-market here, to me, it's still not terribly active, but it is starting to move a bit.
Yeah, I'm just still fixing my charts here. I like Goldman Sachs as a bank. Goldman Sachs, JPM. I mean, they all continue to work. A completely different environment. I think we did a good job there of talking about the differences. But yeah, I'm just going to fix up this chart, and you can see we have all these D prints down here. Not very nice. So we're going to do that, and it looks like there's some interesting names. Ooh, good. AbbVie being upgraded. I like that one as a holder of AbbVie.
Oh, right.
But let's go over to the big screen now and see what Brendan's talking about with upgrades and downgrades.
Yeah, it was a late edition, actually. Citigroup talking positively this morning about AbbVie. KB Homes on here, Tesla, ServiceNow, low-hanging fruit maybe with Tesla this morning. Intel, GE, LVS, one to watch maybe today, and Xilinx at the bottom there.
Yeah, a couple of interesting ones there. It's all good.
All right, man, we'll see you then.
All right. We gotta keep it real. Like Rahim comes out there and obviously does a great job with Brendan, but sometimes we gotta be able to chat too, right? Like we don't get a chance to see him too often. But look, there's a few names that are interesting on that list. We'll get to Xilinx, but I mean, look, there's a reason for the downgrade on a stock why did it not flip? That's up 7% today and screaming. Well, the deal got firmed up a little bit with Chinese approval, so it's 1.72334 shares AMD you're going to be able to get. So when you see that price target in the downgrade, it's simply because this is now tied to AMD a little bit closer, as that deal looks like it's another step closer to closing. But yeah, it's been moving around today. Just remember, it's going to follow shares of AMD quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, AMD today, it doesn't really look like it's too much move. Whoa. Oh, God. That's right. As I fix up my charts, I didn't take away the fills on the daily chart, so we don't want to see that on the daily chart because that'll be too many fills there, and we have a bad print. But AMD right here has really resisted this 107.50 area off of some support. So you could see here 107.50. It's really supported it down here. I mean, 108. I mean, that very bottom is 105. But I really think that there is some love here. Maybe not even 107.50. It's even a bit higher than that, 108.50 or so here on AMD. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to buy any of these dips. We'll look to see that. It's on the note here. Down to 107.50 was as far as I wanted to give it. But you could start buying here 108, 108.50, things like that as AMD continues to work. I think this is just a better name. I mean, Intel reported and is down 2%. AMD is up 0.8, but I still think Intel might be a better trade today. So we'll look at both of those names, but AMD on the Xilinx news doesn't seem to be too crazy, but it's nice. And now that that's behind them, hopefully, as long as they don't interbrand their products or whatever that decision was there, I think that that's okay. And you know what? I'm pretty happy being an AMD shareholder where we've been holding some of these levels down here near 100, but we know the high has been 160 or so. Do we get back there anytime soon? I don't think so, but on a NASDAQ rally, these are the names you want to be in. And the NASDAQ right now up 1% and starting to move. So AMD for me is a no-brainer trade. We just have to make sure we get the right levels like we did yesterday.
I was just talking with Miss B. We're going to jump into the watch list here in a second, guys, but maybe having a look at the EV group as a whole to start things off might be worthwhile. I mean, Lucid looking decent this morning. Not a lot of movement, not a lot of volume, but holding up nicely. Rivian even, holding up nicely. We saw a big move in Plug Power yesterday on a decent note for them. So worth watching at least again today.
I mean, Lucid's definitely worth watching. Just to quickly show you the daily chart on Lucid, because you've got 33 support. It's holding up the top of the range, looking like it wants to break out of 34. But look at what's below 33 on the daily. You have a pretty sizable gap down, which actually carries you through $30 to 29. That's not insignificant. Now we've just come off testing that right at the end, like literally at the end of the day. So I'm not really thinking 33 is broken because you had that wick right at the end of the session here, and then it came right back and we're holding above. So as far as I'm concerned, that 33 support, it's still in there. It's like that last ditch effort. But you had the weak support, this week's support, I should say, which was 34. That got broken, and now we're just barcoding right on top of it. So much like I was doing yesterday. I still like any pop and fade on Lucid, and I'm probably going to be looking at that 33 if it gets taken out. But you can't ignore the fact that Tesla just turned green. If it wants to make a run higher, there's going to be some levels up top that I absolutely love for some other shorts. And we still like that 37 area, but I now look at where we made that roll in the afternoon, and I'm just going to call it the Fed top, because that's what it was in the afternoon. That's up at 35.5. So some of these names, as they get toward those Fed tops, if you're taking a 34 breakout, the same thing stands. Like get out, taking profits in front of the Fed top from yesterday is going to make some sense to me. But Lucid, it's looking pretty spicy both ways. I haven't looked at a long in a while on this stock, but the longer it holds that range at 34, you can definitely look at that. But 33, that gets taken. Like you said, you look for those gaps. Where you're entering new territory, right? Like somewhere it hasn't traded before. And it's been a while, and there's been several times it's supported that. And the trend has been pretty clear to the downside on Lucid. So it got close to breaking it yesterday, late in the day. I think if it gets there today, if Tesla starts rolling over, I still like trading Lucid a bit better.
Yeah, we put in there, I said to Neil that he's going to prefer Lucid. I'm probably going to prefer Rivian today. You can see right here on the sticky note, 68 to 66, 66 to 68 sell area. We want to start building it right there. So I just put the link in the chat there. Please check out the sticky note. There's a couple names on there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 names on the sticky note today that you guys can go have a check out. But I like it into here. Neil just talked about some of those tops. These are not going to be Fed tops or anything like that, because Rivian did have news yesterday where they spiked up and said they were looking like they could make a whopping 200 cars per week or per month, something like that. Either way, Tesla's making 600,000 cars per year. So this is 66 or more than that. This is 66.5. That's one plant. 66.5 right here. Some of these tops. So we'll see. Look, if you take out 68 on this wick, then I have no idea what's going on with Rivian, because that was news. These were algorithms coming in here, buying up these shares. You could see what we did yesterday. Yesterday was one of the best trades for me. Wow, that's a little bit loud. loud there. That's a little loud. Hopefully that didn't blow you guys out there, but right there yesterday off the open, we did hit a 64 short, cashed it out, our last bid out at 62, so that was $2 in the money right there on that last bid. A third was one of my better trades. We'll look to make that again today. If we're lucky enough to get any spikes into the 65, 66, 67, check the sticky note. Those are the areas I'm looking at, and I'm sitting there right now. So any sort of a spike into here, we'll take it. Maybe Tesla rips and Rivian, for some strange reason, gets some love off that. They're not the same company, man. Rivian is just a shot in the dark. I think it's going to work. I'm not, I want to buy. I mean, I like Rivian. I think it's a good stock moving forward. It's just right now in this environment, the Fed has already tipped their hat, obviously, so tipped their hand. So I think that Rivian's a sell until something drastically changes. So I'm going to keep doing that as long as we're in these sell zones. I'm going to be a seller. So Rivian, for me, is a short. The orders are already in.
Some of the cruise lines just popping to the upside here. There's a note on Norwegian. Hedgeye adding it as a long. So Norwegian up here 1.5%. I mean, we got Southwest earnings, so this group a little bit positive, but overall, again, not a lot of action here for even NCLH. Let's bring in Arun and get a check of the overall market as we head into the day after. Arun, what do you look at today?
Well, this market really doesn't want to pick a direction. So here we are kind of playing inside the box once again. 44.05, that's the level we were talking about late in the session. I think just after the Fed came out, I mentioned that 44.05 going into 44.10 is the level. Anything from going into 80, you're looking for a short, right? And here we are going into that same zone, but we're coming up with strength. So you kind of have to back off that idea a little bit. You're just waiting for that setup to happen. Right now, it doesn't look like it's going to be ready anytime soon. So just lay off. This area has got some action. So wait for a setup. If we get that setup, then we can go ahead and use that 44.05 to 44.10 area as a stop on the short side. On the buy side, there really is nothing. This market's kind of blowing up every single level that I could potentially mark off for it. So we're just going to leave that 4,200, which is 177 points away, as the only level in play on the bottom. So we've got that level up top about 30 points away, and then we've got another level on the support side, 170 points away, which, if that comes into play, that's a different scenario in itself for the day. But for now, respect the strength, wait for the market to kind of rotate. If it does rotate, if it doesn't, and it takes out the 44.10 area, I mean, here we are waiting once again, right? This is going to be one of those situations where you do need to wait for the market to establish which levels it wants to play with, because as we're noticing in the last few days, after the big drop, it has been chopping around volatile in big chunks of volume, and it's been wide ranges. So this market is definitely running back and forth between some big players that are willing to play on the edges. So I think at this point, you do have to wait and kind of be patient with it. Patience is the name of the game at this point when you get this kind of a market. So slow down a little bit, let the market decide what it wants to do. And once you get that read, you go for it. But for now, just be patient.
Great stuff. Thanks, Arun. We'll check back in again tomorrow morning. I wanted to mention Hall of Fame here because HOFV just popping up on some volume. If I can bring up the chart, I will show you. There we go. Back above $1 for HOFV. They just announced a new deal with Genesis Global. So they'll become the official sports betting mobile partner for Genesis Global. So HOFV doing some volume here as we continue along. Let's get into the watch list, guys. That is the free, absolutely free, every single day watch list that we send out before we come on at 8:30. Miss V has the link for you in the chat if you do require that. We'll talk about Tesla here. I mean, as we said, one of those charts that kind of is a wait and see. You have to figure out which direction we're going to go here, guys. But what a quarter once again for Tesla.
Yeah, you don't have to actually worry about whether they're going to have growth. The growth is still ridiculous. They're going to firm, 50% production growth over just continuously year over year, which is insane. And like Sean already said, the difference between Tesla and some of the new startups, they've got such a gigantic lead. It's just, $18 billion is, and considering the rapid growth that they have, it's fantastic. And the only reason it's that you're not seeing Tesla up 5%. Is because it's a high valuation day after the Fed, and it just feels like also too on these, we saw it with Microsoft. I mean, people don't look at Lamb, but if you looked at Lamb in the aftermarket, this earnings season, the bid when these reports come out, nobody's on the bid. and they just absolutely drop like a rock. Like, it just comes all the way down to 880, which is a level that I came in thinking this is a price area that's going to get pretty spicy if we get anywhere close to being able to retest that, because that's where the higher low was on the double bottom capitulation Monday, or whatever you want to call Monday. The higher low was right up there in that 880 range, and that's where we slammed to. So I was kind of coming in this morning thinking, okay, you might get a chance to defend somewhere above that. And we're so far away from that price. We're so far away from the tops that got made post-Fed that you were trading in the middle. And that's why I was leaning towards trading something which was a little bit closer to levels that made some sense, like a Lucid. I still like Tesla in this particular environment. I don't know that they're going to have the kind of growth they're not going to have the kind of growth, the stock price that they did last year. I think we're in a bit of a different environment. The way the bid handled what is across the board fantastic numbers is going to tell you a little bit about that. It wasn't anything that you could really nitpick. The Cybertruck isn't happening, that's not a surprise to anybody, right? And I think they're not going to be doing the lower priced 25 grand a smaller vehicle as well. But realistically, I like everything about them. I just think it's tricky for that valuation. So I'm not looking to add to Tesla just yet. I think if it breaks that 850 bottom, like with the bottom that we just put in, we break that level and then come back toward the 200 and some of these clusters around $800. I think that gets a little bit more like a stable sort of thing. Like a lot of these names, when you get to the 200, has been where I've been thinking you can start picking it up if the valuations are a little bit high. Otherwise, you can just hold on to it. I'm not selling here either. So I wish this was trading at 985 or closer to 885, but it's pretty much exactly in the middle of those two key areas.
Look, Tesla's still above its 200-period moving average. There's basically no major cap tech stock or anything like that that's even close to this, let alone above it. So Tesla, just very, very lack of volatility, I believe in the name. It hasn't really moved that much. It hasn't been super exciting to trade, except for intraday. It's been amazing. You've had like $80 moves in this name intraday, especially with all this volatility in the market. So I think it continues. The NASDAQ now up 1.2%. Tesla continues to rock, man. The 20-minute chart gives us something like this area here, 990 maybe. That's still a while away. I just don't know if I want to be trading this in here. They still are going to do the Cybertruck, but it's going to be, hopefully, it's going to be later on in this year. So we're going to find out about that. But record everything for Tesla. So great stock. The PE's never mattered in this name, so I don't think it does now. What is it, about 80, something like that? So if you're going to value stock on PE, then this is obviously a screaming sell, but it's never mattered to Tesla. So I just move forward with it and say, hey, the last shares I sold of this was 1080. And that's, 1020, and that's that. So I haven't done anything else. We've been buying other companies. I'm still long Tesla. It's been a great position for me, and I'll just continue to hold it now. But I do think that the risk is to the downside, not to the upside. I really think that we've kind of made a top here around that $1,000. We'll see what it does. The 50-period moving average is 1,050. I just feel like we don't need to go back up to the tops right now on this report. So for now, we just probably trade in a range, and we'll just wait to see what Tesla does, breaking some of those key levels. Like I said, 1050 top, and then maybe 850 on the bottom.
Just looking at, speaking of high PEs, just looking at this for Roku, guys. Apparently, according to Business Wire, is the preferred or number one streaming platform here in this country. So Canada's number one streaming platform is Roku, apparently. Not much of a move on that, but 150 trying to hold here for Roku. Yeah, I mentioned PE 71 for Roku.
I did not know that fact, that's for sure. Look,
what are the streaming platforms? It could be, I guess, Apple TV. I don't really know, because you use it to. Yeah, it's just a little plug-in, right? So
yeah, like the Fire.
I don't know why, I'm surprised Android TV is not higher than Roku TV, but
I would have guessed that, but again, I had absolutely no clue. I just got a new position, so I'm going to quickly. Sierra's back to flat here. This is when we traded 3 days, now 3 days in a row, I should say, a couple of days in a row. But in the aftermarket, it had this pop right through $30, finally making the break, and that was the big level from a couple of days ago. It slammed right back down here. You then tried to retake it, double top at 31. It then broke the low here, pre-market lows at 28. It's like 28.90. The short I really wanted was off of 31. I was talking to, maybe it was Vivek about this in the pre-market in the chat, and it's like, Couldn't get that because it was way too early. This is about 7:45 or so, but once it's broken down, it's actually giving you the first pop. So I'm going to take a short off of afternoon highs, which is about 29.25 to 29.40. If it takes that out, I'll revisit it at 31 even. But a couple of really good days, and what looks like a wick top on that 30 break has me thinking, coming to the downside here today on Sierra. Again, if it goes through 31, I probably would not touch this thing to the long side, just feeling like that was a wick top. It would have to make a fresh high to get me a little bit more bullish. And 26 is the big level on the downside, looking for that as a target.
Like I was just gonna say about Roku, I know they're built into a lot of TVs, but I was just still surprised. Like Sony's TVs have Android built into them, so I just thought that Roku. And then you have the Apple, the Amazon as well. The Fire TVs, I guess they're not super popular yet. It's just Canada, guys. It's not going to move the needle. But Roku up 2.5%, nice. Obviously, as the NASDAQ goes, hopefully Roku goes as well. We were just at $5 in July on Roku. Right now, you're down to 150, and it still has a PE of 80 or 90. So, I mean, if you're looking at PEs, it's still not very good. But again, a nice little bump up on that. It's nice to hear some decent news for Roku coming out. But again, if you're a shareholder in Roku, you know the kind of tough ride it's been. You still need to get above these areas here, which we may get to today, 160 or so. So you have this consolidation up near 160. You need to break through that before it gets interesting. But hey, a break of 160 probably gets this thing to 180, 190, which isn't a horrible return if you're just trying to scalp. So looking for a swing opportunity, I don't know. You got to have to hold it a lot because yesterday's or a couple days ago, and that complete bottom was 140. But I hold out hope that this 145, like any of these bottoms that were made yesterday and in that death day there, you're obviously going to get a swoop down where anyone that was sitting there got pretty lucky to buy some of those shares. And in any stock was like this on the 24th. So I just look at these kind of levels that held the 145. Forget about that break, but like the 145. So if you take a Roku long now at 152, thinking that there's a little bit of a bounce back, you have 145 as your out. That's only $7 to the downside. And you have much bigger, 160 already gets you there 1-to-1. And then I think when you break that, you get into this area, 175, 180. So for me, risk reward on Roku as a swing trade is quite nice right now. So I actually put a stamp on that trade, 152 long Roku.
Hey team, once again, good morning and welcome everyone who just joined us. I remind you to like this video. More than 5,000 people are currently with us. And please help us to get 2,000 likes before the opening bell. Take it away, Brendan.
Yeah, let's go on to Netflix, guys. Bill Ackman, Pershing Square, giving the thumbs up on Netflix at these prices. Loading up, in fact, 3.1 million shares purchased over the past couple of days by Pershing. And Bill Ackman now up 5% here as we're making day highs, guys, for Netflix.
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
I was gonna say, it's like, okay, so you have to wait for Ackman to buy this thing. Like, it's Netflix already pushed down, made that 350 like 3 days in a row. We get that bottom on Netflix, and then pulling all the way back, like getting cut in half, and they're still the leader. I understand there was some disappointment with their subscription numbers, but we're talking about this around lunchtime yesterday, as this is a good place to start nibbling in. Like we were just mentioning Tesla in the 200 period, $200 below is where Netflix started to get to. So, that seemed like a value where it's a name that you can start to dig into. And I guess we'll call it the Bill Ackman bump. I don't think, whatever. That's what's happening. You got a 5% bump here. I guess it was just waiting for a catalyst. And if that's the catalyst, fair enough. The valuation is contracted already pretty heavily, like I said, coming back in half. And that's what you're looking to see. And Netflix, I think it's a place where you can start adding to it. Fed disregarding what happened with the Fed, that one's already been beaten up enough as far as I'm concerned. And they are the leader, and they're going to remain the leader, in my opinion. I know it's expensive what they do, and costs are not going anywhere in terms of production. But at the same time, their content quality is just so high. I'm going to keep paying the increases. You're probably going to have some slow growth because you can only grow so much, and there's only so many users out there, and a lot of people are competing between having 3 or 4 these different providers, but these guys are still number one, and they're going to stay number one. Like, I love Disney, but that's just me because I'm a comic book guy and a Star Wars guy. Everyone else loves Netflix a heck of a lot more. I'm really just, when I wrote down like the levels here on Netflix, I said 370, 3.5. ish, and then like a 370 stop area. The volume's not really there in the pre-market, but if there is a dip, that's what I was looking at here on Netflix. It's around the pre-market lows, but you give it a few extra shekels because it's a $400 stock.
Yeah, it's right here. It's on the sticky note today. It's the number one name discussed on the sticky note. Talked about this being a possible target. I mean, I talked about this when they reported. Bill Ackman seems to agree a little bit. Buying more and more shares now, a top 20 shareholder. He doesn't get involved in stuff that he doesn't think something's up with, right? So Bill Ackman right now, good ideas, Bill. We had it a while ago, but he's obviously been buying in this dip, and I think it's a good idea. Now owns over 3 million shares. I like the long through 382, so let's see if that hits. I mean, yesterday 382 held. I just think the long goes through there. So for me, it's a buy for sure. Breaking that and just to try it out. Hey, if it works, it works. If not, we'll find some areas to get out. So I think this is a good push here for Netflix. Obviously up to 5%. You know, we'd rather be longer down here, and I'm not going to put any stink bids on this name, but I like Netflix. We've talked about liking this for a while, and then I did say on the day that they had that crazy report to the downside here and how far down they are, that they were a possible buyout candidate or some kind of a merger agreement or something, because I just feel like they'll never do it, but it's just you're down here on Netflix, a forward PE of just 24 right now, which is ridiculously low for Netflix. Their market cap is just hovering around 200 million. So, I mean, if someone's going to buy ATVI for 80 billion, then I think you could buy this for 200 billion and not look back. So let's just wait to see. Again, I'm not sure that there's a buyout coming or anything like that. Apple could do it in stock and cash easily and not even blink. So I think that they could do that, but don't hold it for that. I think it's a day trade today through 382, and we'll wait to hear on anything like that.
All right, let's go on to Intel. A couple of pretty good numbers, a couple of numbers that weren't exactly what they were expecting, but the first quarter revenue forecast, a decent one, $18.3 billion for INTC versus $17.6 expected. Record revenue in Q4, guys, for Intel, but here we are down 3.6%.
Yeah, you got to understand what it is and what it is not. Like you can't, look, revenue numbers are good and they beat on EPS. But remember, their margins are coming down because they're spending a ton and they're going through a transition, which admittedly, Gelsinger said, you're talking about 24, 25 for this, right? Like they're opening factories. They're gonna start manufacturing other chip makers' designs, which is a big turn for them in addition to doing their own, which has always made them stand out. Their margins are down in the 50s. They need to get it back to the 60 level. They actually beat on margins. It was 55, and I think 53 was what analysts were expecting. But overall, their guide for Q1 was a miss. And I think so what that basically said is a timeline for getting back to some better profits is going to be to the longer end of what the CEO was saying. And I think that's why it's going to be under pressure. Some of it, too, as well, was Lam's warnings about Lam came out warning about issues still in the space and supply chain constraints, and that actually beat the crap up on some of these names, and Intel got a little bit of that as well. I mean, there's obvious support in the daily chart down around this 48, 49-ish area, so both those levels I'm looking as possible defenses. Actually, it was like 49.25, I think I wrote down here. Yeah, 49.25 or so on Intel, but sometimes you look at those reports and it's like, but they beat. Why are they down? You've got to understand why it's a different type of name and why it should react the way it is doing so. Right now, you're betting on a company turnaround, and then you're essentially saying, because of its PE ratio, if we do have, if the market has a huge correction, then it's not going to get as beat up as some other names. Right? Like, that's what it's all about. But when growth comes back into flavor, it's also not going to be the big mover for you there. So, to me, there's not too much of a shock here. The shock was, I guess, overnight with Lam. I did not see their earnings coming. I didn't see that thing going down as far as it did. But I'm looking 49.25 on Intel. It has some support here. Go to the 15 minutes so you can see. It has some support down around that price area if you look at the last couple of weeks here. And I'd like to see if it can hold those levels. It's been barcoding back around 50, and the volume's pretty solid.
So, I mean, I have Intel written on the sticky note. You guys can check that out. But my worry about Intel is Intel didn't work in a high growth environment, right? They didn't, right back to 2018 here, it's the same price it was in 2018. So Intel didn't work then, and now is it going to work in this environment? My money's going to be on a no again. We are so, this has been absolutely deadsville, but it's a good trade. Like if you can get back up here to 68, that's fantastic. But if you've parked your money in here, and it's only because this goes back to 2018. I mean, even if I go back further, I don't know how much better or worse it is. But if you go back here 3-4 years, guys, on Intel, you're at the exact same price, right? And so for me, Intel is going to be a hard pass as far as an investment is concerned, but we really have traded this real well, guys, on this name. So we'll just continue to do that on Intel. We have some areas here that we like. Again, a disappointing report, down 3% in the NASDAQ, up 1%. But I like the same levels that Neil was talking about, this 49.80, things like that. We did have some bids down there. I actually just canceled my bid. We were bidding 49.70 and we almost got long, and I was like, nah. Because I looked at this and said the same thing. You're down 3% in an up NASDAQ, and then you put the, I just don't know if people will like this name. They did get one spike when, I think it was Chanos came in and bought some, but all he did was buy lower, sell high in his own news release. So we'll wait to see what happens here. But Intel, dead money for the last 4 years. Hopefully things change for them. But for a day trade, it's been great, man. We've actually done really well on this one. I don't know why my trades aren't showing up, but we did have some of these bottoms. It took it back up to the top recently. So you do get some wick bottoms. We are down here near 49. I do like the trade, but again, we're going to have to get long at a good price and then see what happens. I'm really surprised. The report doesn't seem that bad, man, and we're down 3%. So obviously the stock is broken. It just needs to get going.
Let's go over to AMD and Xilinx. We're just reading through this press release one more time. Sorry about that, guys. AMD and Xilinx, as we said, China gives conditional thumbs up on this $35 billion deal for them. I was just reading through these conditions, but I mean, there's nothing that's not to be expected. I guess this was one of the bigger hurdles that this was going to have to get through to get done today. Sean, you were talking about AMD there, 1.2. I mean, Xilinx, I had a look as well. Not a lot of volume.
No, I mean the turnaround in AMD. Like, from what I sat down, like when that note got written there, Brennan, like AMD was trading significantly to the downside of that 106. They started selling it off. It's like, okay, so the deal's getting firmed up, which everybody loves for them, and it's going to sell off. Now, I'm looking at the first consolidation it had, AMD itself, at 109, and then I've been sitting on the bid since about like 8 o'clock or so, just after 8, trying to catch this if it ever comes back in. So stink bidding AMD. If you happen to be trading Xilinx, the closer it gets to firmed, the more you can just pop into your calculator 1.72 and multiply that by AMD and then figure out what that price is going to be. And I think it should trade a little bit closer to that. Like the spread should tighten on any kind of an arb between these two names here today. And with AMD looking this strong, I think it has to be a dip buy. I wish we got a chance at this. Whoops. Oh, good daily chart. Yeah, so there we go. I wish we got a shot at this a little bit earlier, but it was way too early in the morning to buy some of those dips for me anyways. And I'm looking, also you've got some support on the 200 period, which sits right at about this like 109, 110 level. But as you can see, this is higher lows from that Monday bottom. And I just want to see if we can, I'd be shocked if AMD were to break back through the Monday lows, which is why I'm sitting in front of it.
Yeah, again, it's on the sticky note. We have some levels there. I like this deal. I mean, we thought that it was going to get approved. Unlike ARM, NVIDIA's having a little bit more problems with that and may just give that up. But Xilinx now a good one. And this is just to show you guys what we were talking about between Intel and AMD. I know Prad talks about it all the time, but Intel, remember, in 2018 was the same price it is now. AMD was $22, right? But you're at the 200 period right now for AMD. So this is a name, again, a very, very high growth name. Their valuation, their PE is going to be extended even now. But I still think you got these nice bottoms here. I mean, we were a buyer of AMD like hand over fist right here, 50 when it was consolidating. Then again here at 75 when it was consolidating. Then you could see right now you're sort of consolidating around the same spots again, $100. So you're consolidating right here. I think there's a good opportunity to buy this name. AMD continues to be a monster, and you're just going to have to sort of go through it, right? That's how we had huge wins on this name yesterday and on Microsoft and a lot of the names that we traded yesterday, big time wins, because you got to let the stock settle down a little bit. So we'll wait to see if it comes back in. Now I got to change my prices. I was bidding down here 108 because, like Neil said, when we put some of these notes out, like it was trading at 109, 110. It's now just bumped up to 112, but it can fall back in here. So we'll see if we get like a 108, 109 bid, maybe even 110 down here. We could start it. I'm just nervous about the NASDAQ. I don't like when we open so high, because it's like they want to crush this name. They want to crush the NASDAQ. We know that already. So I'm nervous about where we're opening up here on the NASDAQ. So that's why I'm sort of bidding down here, 108, 109 for AMD.
All right, one more on the list there. Groupon we'll touch on here, one that I'm going to be paying attention to at the open here. Very, very low volume so far here in the pre-market, which is interesting. But after yesterday, you can see huge volume that came in, especially near the end of the day in this range. Definitely worth paying attention. 26.5 is support from late in the day yesterday. Corresponds with a couple of levels on the daily chart. And then you go up to 27.75 and 28.5 at the top was the range yesterday. So we're stuck in the middle right now. If we do get below this 26.5, there's a long way to go back to the downside. Same story above 28.5, a long way to go on the daily chart. You'd be back into, this, it's not a gap, but a bit of a gap on the daily chart all the way back up into the low 30s, guys, for Groupon.
Yeah, I think it's an intriguing opportunity for Groupon. I'm looking to trade it hopefully today too if it gets some of that momentum and holds at 26. But ARDS, Aridis, Pharmaceuticals, there you go. They got funding from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. That's the news why it's up. But it also had a move 2 days ago. Yeah, it was 2 days ago. Bouncing and turning right here at 240. I'm going to go higher time frame just so you can see. Been falling back down pretty much all pre-market. When it got back below that previous high, I then sort of shorted the consolidation there in front of that 230 level. That's why I got 28. I was scalping it out thinking I was going to be able to get it again at the open. So if it does pop up, that's the level I'm kind of looking to add. But as it starts to run away from me, that might not happen. $2, which was previous support, and then broke down heavily in yesterday's trade right about 10 o'clock. I think that's going to be the next level to the downside. So what I have left, I'll probably throw in the bid in front of 2, but I am looking to add to this position on a potential pop and roll. Tesla just came down from 950 back into 940. So I think these EV names are going to be on the move. I noticed Lucid was back and forth between that $34 mark. So that's the one I'm looking to trade. Like I know Tesla's in the cards. Maybe this isn't going to happen on Lucid, especially if Tesla doesn't want to break up. But that 35 to 35.50 area, the Powell top or whatever you want to call it, I'm still sitting there looking for that fade on Lucid if we can get it. Like we said about AMD, looking for we're both when we say stink bid, AMD's at 112. So when you're bidding at like 108 or 109, like that's like more than a couple of percentage points below it. So it's like you're bidding at a price which is very far away in real terms from the current price in case like something stinky happens, like there's a big flush or it goes down a significant amount in a pullback. So you're not bidding anywhere close to current prices. That's the idea behind it. And one other one, lending clubs on our watch list, they got beat down on their report. Look, this is just another one of those names which hasn't been working in the last couple of years. Well, in this environment, not in the last couple of years, but this has been now cut in half, not more, but more than cut in half from 50 all the way down to $17. Some significant price levels down here from where it broke out back in July of last year, down to about 16. I'm looking for some volume to come in. It's getting close to 1 million shares, which is pretty good. And then this 19 to like 1950 area, if it gets back up anywhere close to that, I want to be short in front of it. Down 20%. It's SSR, so you can't actually hit the bid without an uptick, but it's screaming to the downside, lending club. I guess this might not happen either.
No, LC, yeah, down 20%. SSR, of course. We haven't looked at the imbalances yet, so let's do that now quickly. Ford on the bid here, and again, probably just whenever we see big buys like this is not super big, but again, it's about a third of, about a third, almost a quarter of what we're seeing here. 2 million shares, 670 into that, creating a little bit of a bump up here in the open, but I still really like this 2050 area as a buy, but I am noticing that yesterday's top was really 2065, so if we get that bid, let me just make sure what kind of shares I'm using. Okay, hold on a second, let me make sure. Okay, it's a decent size. I checked my stop order there. If it does break back above 2050, sorry, we'll go long. But I sort of when I made this idea, I misjudged this. I sort of thought this was 2050, but 2060. We'll look to see if that's the top, but I still like Ford going upside today off all of this. We just got into Netflix taking out the top. I hate to do this, man. Damn it. So new trade alert right now. So wake up, everybody. The market is not open yet, but we are now in a trade for the first time. There goes Netflix. We talked about liking it through 282. It's on the sticky note. If you need some trade ideas, guys, go to the sticky note. We'll put it in the chat quickly right now. It already has 127 likes and 60 retweets. So thank you so much for that. Get it going, retweet it, like it, everything. The more people that see it, the better it is. But again, this is not a trade that I like to be in right now. It's light. So hopefully it goes up, and it's okay because it's Netflix, so we know we can move up $5 or $6, $7, so we can make money on this regardless. But I have to give this all the way back here. So if it cracks lower here off open, we'll take it out at 377.50 or so. The out in case that does come through. So 377.50 we'll get out at 2/3. But right now Netflix trying to push higher. Target on this as we get ready to go is only 30 seconds to go. I don't really have one, so we'll wait to see where we go because yesterday's high is 380. So 382 we're long right now on Netflix. Let's see, maybe 385. We'll take a piece out.
Yeah, 20 seconds on the clock there. Miss V matching you in the black there. Black is the new green.
Yep,
Tesla just bounced off of 930, so it's moving now. $20 from top to bottom in the pre-market there. But it is time. It's Thursday. I was almost said hump day for some reason, but it's Thursday. Let's get this party started. It is post-Fed day, post-Tesla day, and it's Apple aftermarket. 3, 2, and 1. Bring it. We got to talk about Apple. I just was thinking we forgot to talk about Apple this morning.
All right, it's NASDAQ time. NASDAQ starting to go. Let's just check in on Ford to see what's happening. Nothing. There goes Netflix right now temporarily to the high side. But again, just opening up. So let's wait to see. This could flush down, guys. Remember the kind of day that we're feeling here on the NASDAQ. We don't know exactly what's going to be going on.
We'll do this one for, I like the way we ride Sierra, the stock. It's on Sierra Oncology. I love that song. Anyways, Sierra all the way down to 28. I got another bid down here below that 28 level. Looks like it's starting to make a bit of a turn. Lucid, oh my goodness. If it happens again, at least I'm happy with Sierra. But Lucid just dropped $1. So it's already gone. So the only thing I have is Sierra. Wow, Sierra.
All right, Netflix right now, guys, $4 or $5 in the money. Go, $6, $5 and plus now in the money here for NFLX, guys. This is how we rock and roll. This is how we ride right now, guys. $7 now. 4, 5, 6. Let's keep going. No idea where we're going to stop. Man, I just put an order at $3.95 here for that one. I'm not in anything else. So maybe Netflix, that might be the ride up as high as it goes there. What was that, 387? So a nice move up. We can get a piece out there if it goes up there one more time. But right now, I'm just looking at Netflix. We'll check in on Intel and Ford in a second, but I got to get that order out at 387.
Yeah, I just got my stink bid. We have, the term. Some people like that term, some people don't like it, but we're using it. On Intel, 49 is going to be the level. It just got ticked in at 35s there. I just thought, Tesla just broke 920. You're starting to scream down in. There's no average in for me unless it bounces or consolidates off this first level. And I want to make sure I'm keeping it around 1-to-1, so it has to break back up towards 50 before taking anything else. So that's the process over on Intel. Lucid just broke. Of course, sorry, I just got some out of Intel, but Lucid just broke that 33 level. This is insane. Unbelievable. It's like Lucid just doesn't want to give you a shot there. So, I got in here on Lucid on the 33 break, but I got to go relatively tight stop because I'm essentially shorting off the bottom here on this name. We'll give it to 33.25, and then if it tries to recover, I'll go 33.5 as the next level down. But wow, like Lucid, this stock just does not want to work in this environment. It just keeps on getting hammered every single day, and getting into it's nearly impossible. Back over to Intel, just to quickly show you, was able to get some out in front of 49.50. If it can consolidate, that's the only way I want to add to it. And ARDS is getting absolutely pummeled. I'm sitting on the offer. I tried to get more shares there on any kind of a pop. Instead, it just flushed right to $2. So right into that $2 level.
Okay, so far so good here on a nice little winner for our friends at Intel right now. As we just took a piece out anyways. 49.20 in, 49.44 out there on INTC. So far so good on that name. As it's starting to rock and roll here. To the upside goes Intel. We did average into our Netflix. Let's see where that goes. No idea for now where we go on Netflix, but it's right now straight to the upside with Intel. We'll see if Netflix can hold some of these bids as well, as it just held that 378. So let's see if that continues to work. We are long at 381 now on Netflix. So a target area of up here, maybe not bad. 384 to get a piece out if we're lucky enough to do that here on NFLX. So let's see if that one wants to ride. Ford not doing much now, but Intel, Netflix, the only two positions I have, and those are the ones that we got to watch. I assume because Lucid's tanking, Rivian's probably tanking, and unfortunately we don't have Rivian though.
I'll double check in a quick second. Tesla bounced off 910 there, and Lucid just bounced off 3250. I did get some out on the 33 break because if it's a relative stop tight down there, you know how I wanted to enter the trade, and obviously obviously it's not going to happen because it gives you almost no shot unless you were just short right away. So I'm thinking it can get even further to the downside, but there could be a bit of a relief or bounce before that happens. And this is why. That's that daily chart. This is below 33. It's a monstrous gap there on this name. But Tesla, it doesn't get to 885. And then back to this chart here. It goes to 910, which was a bit of a bounce in the afternoon, at least before aftermarket. So 910 was a bounce late. I know Pratt had that trade. It looks like we're screaming to 900. I'm going to hold my Lucid because that's the one I have short. But Tesla, it was 880 to 885. That was the price area we thought that it might have a bit of a bounce. I finally got some more shares of ARDS to the short side. And then watch out for Sierra. Like it was it's been a good short. It just bounced a little bit here. If this is going to be capitulation day on Sierra, I think the reload has to come somewhere around 29 to 29.5 where we liked it before.
Yeah. The NASDAQ is absolutely tanking. So unfortunately, I don't think this Netflix is going to work out, man. I mean, I really like this trade, but I mean, there's only so much we can hold in this move here. So the market is tanking down here pretty hard. It's amazing that Netflix is still even holding up, but we are well aware that this one could crack a lot lower rate here. The NASDAQ is absolutely puking, man. We need to find some shorts. I know Neil was just talking about Lucid. Look at Rivian, an absolute monster to the downside. We were waiting for 64, 65. That doesn't look like that wants to come in. Where's the bottom on this? What's up, Brendo?
Groupon, guys, testing that high, as I was talking about, 28.5. Pretty thin trade so far, not a lot of volume here, but 28.5 seems to be holding so far on Groupon.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a missed opportunity. I got 4 positions on, so you're not going to get absolutely everything. Just watch Tesla bounce a little bit there, and now I have to start thinking about Intel. It just broke the bottom. And my stop did not trigger. And the reason why, and look, I know better than this, that 49 price area, when I got the first out, I went to adjust my stop for the correct amount of shares, so I canceled the current stop and did not put the new one in despite thinking I did. So we'll do this to myself because that's what happened. But this should be an out at 49. It's not. You just saw me get out. And you got to be able to run away from it. It ran my stop like 25 cents ago. This is why you got to scalp some out. I also just missed out on Sierra. It didn't quite get up past that 29 area. So I didn't really get the reload. I'm kind of sitting on the bid below 28. But what I want to do, if it's going to hang in this range, is get more shares out for the buck. And then see if we can't start rinsing and repeating inside of this range. I've seen Sierra hold a range before, and I want to be sure I can take advantage of it. Is this market? And we're still up on the day, by the way. Like the market's starting to pull back. My stink bid is all the way down at 397. Sorry, 370, 350 on something like a Netflix. And as much as it came up and went to like 87s, it's still holding the consolidation price points from earlier on, like right before the open, actually. So there's still a ways for it to go before I can catch a fill. And Lucid now at $32. Like the gap is to like 30 on the daily chart. Actually past 30 on the daily chart, the gap is.
I mean, I don't even know where this market's going right now. I mean, I can't believe some of these tanks that we've just seen here. But we're going to go into another position here on Ford. Ford trying to go to the upside right now. It does dip down. Let's see if we can get some out. There it is, some out at 36. So already, guys, we already go yes, sir, on that one and smoke one on Ford to the upside. Let's just see if it goes. I have no idea if this is going to continue or not. So let's put some offers. We still want to go long through 50. So if Ford can get up to 50, that'd be all good on that one. Netflix still trying to battle, man. We do have an offer, 384.50, but now the VWAP needs to break a lot higher than that. Maybe even just 383. Like I feel pretty lucky here. We just dipped and ducked and dodged. We just watched Dodgeball, by the way. That was a good movie. Dip, dive, duck, and dodge. So there's dodges twice. Dodge, dip, dive, duck, dodge.
You're right.
So there's dodges twice there. Good movie, but right now we're in 3 longs and the market just needs to get going a little bit. Everything's fine. We're flat on pretty much everything. Ford, we took a little bit of profit. We are understanding that there's a $20 level here on Ford, so maybe we'll leave that until that comes through. Otherwise, we got to hope for this market to rebound a little bit here. Was that a call for Brendo?
A lot of strength, guys. Another earnings name in Seagate Technologies. They reported as well a couple of upgrades and price target increases for STX here. We're right back to recent highs on the daily chart. Nice look here, 106 up to 116 for STX.
So I'm about to reload in Sierra. But also remember that 885 area on Tesla? Well, that came down. That life comes at you pretty quick, and it just flushed into it, and it bounced at 889. So I mean, I was saying 880 to 885, so it's just a little bit out of the range where I would have been sitting on the bid in front of it, and now it's made one bounce. So let's see if it can consolidate around this price area. It does feel like we're headed down towards this. I don't want it screaming back. Lucid is actually holding down at that bottom at 32, so if Tesla's going to make a bounce here, it does make some sense that I might want to cover this Lucid in front of 32. It's been a good one, but let's remember, and I'm going to get out of Lucid in front of 32. I guess, whatever, I can be happy about it a little bit. But, I didn't get it at the top, so I'm not that happy about it on Lucid. But, it's still screaming downside. We talked about this for a couple of days now, and then you get that gap fill. Now Tesla at 885, this is what I wanted to defend, and it's getting really close to it. So if we can get some kind of consolidation off this level in Tesla, the market's still holding up nicely. But remember, it's a valuation thing why this is getting sold off 5%. The numbers were still fantastic. It's just, running to the exits. It's a different environment here that we have. And I get out of Lucid because I think Tesla can bounce. And of course, Lucid breaks 32. So once again, I'm getting out of the good short, maybe a little bit early.
Yeah, we just took a one last. I mean, I sit here and say how, Intel's really not great, but I do like it as a trade. But it's just like you're down 6.5% now. And more on Intel. So, I mean, trying to catch these bottoms on this name, not a good idea, man. As you guys can see, this just keeps on cracking lower, lower, lower. We'll see. We do have a 48 bottom, maybe, that we just looked at here. I still can't believe Netflix is really doing nothing right now. But this 48 is right here, and it's even lower than 48. And then, it was just... This is a daily chart, so we're not going to look all the way back here to November, but its most recent bottom is 48, and it's even a little bit lower. So I don't know. We'll see if it can resist that level right now. But hopefully some of these names can start going back up to the upside as the NASDAQ rebounds a little bit. We did empty out a little bit of Ford there. Seems obviously silly as Ford going back up to the upside. We were a little nervous there on that flush, so we did get some out when it broke through view up, but there it goes right back up to the upside. Let's go, Ford. You can do it. Ford waiting at 45 now to get some out on Ford, so that would be a good one. The reason why we got out there, we were trying to reload at 11s, and because that was the bottom there, so we don't get it, but that's okay. Hopefully we can reload back up to the upside right now, and we just wait for Netflix to go. I'm laying out 382. If we could take a piece out there for $1 on the first piece, let's just do that because it's just been bouncing around way too much, man. Like we were so close. There we go. Did we get that? We were so. Oh my God, we're at 381.90 right now. It just went to 381.82. So hopefully, oh, come on, Netflix. Do this, man. Just go up just a little bit more. Like, here we go. There we go. Thank you. Boom. Nice little trade there for Netflix. So sometimes we say that all the time. You got to wait for your trades. And we did a nice average in there on Netflix, giving us that bottom. So far, so good there as Netflix starting to rip up now, putting your boy well in the money on that trade. We should have took it off early. Let's see if we make the same mistake again. But we got to let Netflix ride here.
And you're going to go back to Groupon because this stock is holding up even higher. Sorry, we're just looking at GameStop, but holding up even higher than I anticipated. I'm on the bid in front of the lows. So I got 27.55. I got 27 bids as well on this name, but it's now holding this 28 level continuously. And if you look at that previous on the daily chart, I remember we talked about that previous 28 high. So previous resistance has turned into support off this 28, which makes me want to take maybe 3 cracks at this. I like 26. I like the pre-market highs, and now I'm going to get in front of this 28 level if it can bounce. It's testing it now, and I'm on the bid lower. So if it breaks, I want to make sure I can still get this fill. But once we get any kind of a bounce or maybe above the quarters, I'm going to break long into some shares at 28.25 on Groupon. Like I said on ARDS, I got a reload on that name, so I am into more shares of it finally. It took a little bit of time, but was finally able to get some ARDS shares on the pop. It got up to about 220 or so. I was able to get just a few more around, and now average price is at 15. I'm not changing the plan. I'm still bidding out in front of $2. I want to have at least half of it out in front of that range if it gets there. Sierra is still holding that $28 level. And Lucid, I mean, for a second there, it broke that 32, but the out looks pretty good. We're back at 32.25 because Tesla was making that bounce. And I'm going to try to short pops on Lucid. It just probably has to get a little bit further than $32. Like that 33 break was just the floodgates opening up. Rendo?
Another earnings name just popping up. Comcast reported here in the pre-market. Not a huge move either, but decent volume so far on CMCSA. 46 trying to hold here.
Nice, Comcast. Yeah, good little name there. We're at a carnival today with Netflix and with Ford. Bang right now. Look at Ford, guys. Picked this up on that break there. Got nervous when it broke VWAP, so we did get out of 20%, but we hold the rest for a nice little win, and our best out right there, 45, as it tips out to our 50 level. I actually canceled that 2050 break. It stopped right there. Didn't have enough momentum to break it. I'd rather reload Ford down here. So just in case you guys are watching, that's a cancel now. Cancel this one. We don't want a 2050 break on Ford. We'll see if we can reload it down here somewhere and then pick it up. But right now, $3 in the money goes Netflix one more time. So hopefully this will just continue to go to the upside as the NASDAQ right now really starting to pop off. So a nice move upside. How low did AMD go? Because we didn't get anything there.
It didn't.
It only went to 110, but still okay. We were waiting a little bit lower than that, so we don't get that bid. And I don't know. Do we just take advantage of Netflix right now? In the money, $3 $3 now. On Netflix in the money on this trade. So the NASDAQ is just really going right now. We're back to days high on the NASDAQ, which is fantastic. So I don't know. I'm just surprised this name's not going. And like, if I take any other damn chip name today, we're probably rocking and rolling, but instead we focus on Intel, which is getting crushed. So that name sucks today for me, but Intel down 7%. We just thought that was way too much. I thought it was too much at 3%. So what are we even talking about? As AMD, NVIDIA, all these names rocking, and I'm stuck here with Intel. So lesson learned on this one, guys.
I just got tagged into Groupon for the first time today above that. So it takes out that 28. I don't get the fill down here at 27.50. It then reclaims that 28 quarter level. So I'm back in the long. But remember, I like this. I liked this as 28 before when it was holding. I now have a new stop bottom, which I can throw at 27.80. And then I'll try it again off of some of those lows. This is what we liked originally, was a lot lower than this on Groupon, but thinking that it could break out on the daily at this price area. So I'm willing to take it in this range and then see if we can take this a little bit higher. Like I said, it could be 3 shots at this for a chance to go. The deal, of course, or the news, of course, being that their stake, they have a stake which could be worth $1 billion. Their market cap is just under that. So we'll see if that ends up working out. ARDS, like I said, we got the reload. It looked like it was coming back down. That's like one too many bids. Cancel that one. Cancel that one as well. Yeah, and so it looked like it was about to I guess capitulate, go right back down to $2. Now it's heading into a bit of a cluster right up here at this 220 level where I am short in front. Keeping in mind, it's a 230 out that I like on this stock. So I got to be able to give it some room. And I got one more, I guess, salvo to throw into it if it gets up to that 230 where I was shorting it earlier in the day. Sierra, just to come back to this name, just hit another target in front of 28. So that continues to be a good one, although I did try to catch this curl here at 29.25. I didn't get the fill because I was trying to get it on the way back down, so I was unsuccessful in being able to add to Sierra. I think 26 is the next stop that it makes. 26 was the resistance from yesterday. I think 26 is where the support will come in, so looking for about $3 on this trade.
Yeah, exactly. We have $3 right now on Netflix is what we're trying to take. If it just goes up through 383, that's where our offer is. So a little bit of a high flyer here on Netflix today. It's just not moving as much as we had hoped it would. But it takes, man, I mean, it's just, you want to talk about something that really opens up. Netflix has like a 40, 50 cent spread when it starts to move here. So we're going to wait up at 380, right at this high here. Not the high, but 380, 340 or so. If we can go up another $1, we will cash something out here on Netflix as, the only thing that's a problem for me right now, obviously Ford is 17 cents in the money right at this 350 area one more time. We'll see if we can hold it, and maybe a breaker 19 happens right now on this name. But we are nicely up above the 50 period for the NASDAQ, so I'm still looking for some longs here, but I do understand that we are coming back in lucid. Excuse me. Okay, here we go. Thanks. All right, we're very, very close to getting this Netflix out, but that's a name that we've got to look at. There goes Ford. Nicely done on that one as they break through 50 right there for the winner on this one. So we're going to hold this and see if it goes. Really, my main concern right now is obviously with Netflix, but we should be able to get out. I'm just a couple pennies higher than that, and we will take $3 on this one. Hopefully, Neil and I can have back-to-back $3 winners here if it goes.
The Sierra's like halfway there, man. It's got some room.
Yeah, $1.50, man. We can go. We can still go. Hopefully this can go. There it is. There's for me. Boom. So there it is right now. We'll go, I don't know, mac and cheesy, but that's a lie on this one. This was not easy at all here for Netflix, as we're now $5 in the money on this name, and it continues to go long. And if you guys want to, man, check out the sticky note. This is exactly what we're talking about. Netflix, we liked it. We talked about it long. We take the break at 382. It's at 385, so 384 right now. But good trading so far on Netflix. Remember when we said we'd get in trouble? These early breaks just aren't working, man. What's up?
It's just like someone just asked in the chat what's going on with Lucid. I'm an idiot. That's what's going on with Lucid. It's just like, look at the gap in the daily on the 33 break. I took it, but I only took $1. And I took $1 because Tesla got down to that 885 level and started to bounce.
What is wrong with Lucid?
So I was
Did we
just
have
like,
news?
no, but look at the level on the daily. Like the gap is monstrous, down to like 28.5. It's not even a $30 here. So it's just, this is to me like a technical support break. And then again, valuation's getting crunched a little bit. And let's also remember one thing. Look at how great Tesla's numbers were. Like, that's the competition. So you just got to look at the competition, and that's a super high valuation name in Tesla. Well, I mean, if you think it's a chance to buy Tesla, maybe you don't like the Lucids and the Rivians of the world just as much. Either way, it continues to flush, and I am not in it anymore. And look, it's not that I am complaining about it, because I should have still been in this name. Probably not a lot of reason to get it. I think the bigger mistake was probably scalping some of that at the beginning of the move. But Tesla bounces, Lucid cannot seem to find a bid whatsoever. And I also just tried to get some more shares on the curl of ARDS. I did not get them. I'm not really altering the plan much here. I just can't seem to get any fills. It's barcoding, and the longer it barcodes up here, it might have a chance to break out a little bit, but as long as we're below 230, I like adding to this one. I just got a fill there. And Groupon, we'll go 0 for 1. We took the first a break at 28, at 25 when it got above VWAP, but then it took out that fresh low. 26 all the way down, I'll try that level, and again, the pre-market lows as well. I just want to be in this if it tries to make a pop, but I want to make sure I have an out every time I jump into the Groupon trade.
Yeah, I was actually just trying to use the same logic right now with this trade on Rivian, and that is that let's go short. There it is. So now we're short Rivian, and we're going to get out if it takes back out here. These wick highs, 58.75, 58.76, but now we're short on Rivian to the downside. Let's see if that one continues to print lower, lower, lower. And here it goes. A nice little win already right now. So we'll belly dance this away as we're taking out 57. Let's go right now. We just take this trade a smooth 50 cents. Brandon, kill him.
Western Digital, guys, just popping back up on volume here. Another one that's come down to a significant level here on the daily chart. Lots of support around this bottom end, 55 range for WDC. Through day highs there, I guess some volume went off for Western Digital.
All right.
And now Intel's at that daily chart.
Yep.
So daily chart support on Intel, I think we mentioned this in the pre-market. We did. $48 area. It did break it a couple of times here, and you go all the way back into October. It just got to that price now, so I'm a little tight to it this time. Got 09s here, but you got to give it a feel. Like I said on the daily, it's broken that 48 a couple of times, so it just bounced off the evens. I think you give it an extra 10 to 15 cents. Well, if you're going to make that trade, at least I do. So I'm going to get my stop order in. I just got in at 9s. I'm not going to be adding to it, I don't think. It's going to be a one shot and done. We took one stab at the bottom trying to pick a low, and then we got out, we got stopped out, and we're going to take another shot here. I will be scalping it definitely all the way up every single quarter. I want to make sure I'm taking outs on Intel. You mentioned Hall of Fame. I don't really see it doing, it was on the radar when you brought it up there, but I kind of thought there'd be some kind of a push up that could be faded. It's now headed down to $1. It might be worth $1 defense just in case the volume does spike up, but not really seeing any action in HOFV, but getting close to that $1 mark, which I'm always interested in when any stock that's in play gets to $1.
Yep. So far, so good here. I'm dug into Intel already, so that was a trade there. I hope that goes up for both of us here. Intel. We were celebrating Rivian, but it stopped at 57.30, so it actually, or sorry, 57 flat there. We got some kind of a crazy dip down here to 56.90 or so, but we'll just wait to see if the NASDAQ does pull down. We are sitting down here on Rivian to get some out in the 80s. So there it is. Yeah, buddy, another 75-cent winner for your boy here on Rivian, as that goes right down to the downside there, so that's a good win. And I don't know, we go short on Rivian, but we are long on Microsoft, on Netflix right now, and Netflix is still $5 in the money, and it was just $7 in the money. So that's something that we have to look at here. We are looking at that 387 top.
That ain't right.
So that's something that we're looking at. Yeah, where is that? There it is right here. Thanks, Randy, for that as the
Randy just
bull.
smacked it. He actually got me right in the shoulder with that.
Nice job, Randy.
It was a good throw.
There it
Good
is,
throw.
the bull. You want a bull or a bear today? What are you feeling? I'm saying bull. All right, let's go with bull. We'll go with the bull today.
I mean, we're up 1.5%.
Yep. Good choice, Randy, there with the bull. So we'll take with the bull today. And so right now we're grabbing the bull by the horns and taking a couple longs. Netflix long, $5 in the money. Ford, 14 cents in the money. But it was a ripper all the way up here to 20.65. And now I real feel dumb because look at this, like more than usual, which is strange. 20.65 was today's high and yesterday's. So not yesterday's high after the open, but right into here. We already identified that 20.65 level. We identified that early on the show. That's why we didn't want that 20.50 break. And then it comes right up there and stops again. So let's stick our order here at 20.60. If we're lucky enough to get this thing to bump up one more time, we'll do that. I mean, it's still a 13-cent winner, but it was 30 cents at an obvious level. So, bad mistake there for me. And we're on episode 4 now of Ozark. Pretty good. Have you started Ozark yet?
Oh, so for the record, I started Ozark a few years ago and got 1.5 episodes in. I have not gotten back to it yet. I got a few things that I'm trying to get to.
What season are you in?
That. No, it was literally season 1, and I got 1.5 episodes in, and that's just about it. This is episode 2 for me on Intel, by the way, in terms of trade.
Yes, let's go.
Off that level on the daily chart at 48. Like I said, I would scalp it every single quarter, all the way up to VWAP, which sits at 48.75. So first out, 48.25. Going to get in front of the 50s as well. This time, my stop is placed. I'm not going to make the mess up that I did before, where I went long in front of that 49 at the quarter mark, and then did not adjust my stop when I took the scalp trade. This time, I am pretty safe. I got the order in there. Tesla, if you're watching that 885, we're still down here, eh? Like the market, the NASDAQ's screaming, and Tesla continues to have some trouble getting off of these bottoms. I was just at 888, thinking it was going to make another dip down here and off of these lows, and then it just touches away from my order. And it feels like either you're willing to give it maybe even $10 in front of that level. I'm still trying to be patient with it because it's going counter trend here. So I don't want to be overly aggressive with Tesla at this point. But it feels like you might not get that shot again at 885 if it's going to go. But to me, you've got to be willing to miss a trade if you're going to follow your rules every now and then. Going back to that Sierra, I'm going to knock on some wood here because it did break the low. And I know I'm putting in the 26 target, but it got about 50 extra cents before it found another area of support. Volume is dying. That's a good sign for it being the rug pull day on Sierra, but I found a little level of support here at 27.25. And I said I would go back over to Groupon off the pre-market lows. It's getting there. It's pretty close. Pre-market lows on Groupon is actually on very, very light volume, $26.50. It just broke 27, so it's in the pocket now for the second try.
So guys, $7 now in the money for Netflix. So that's starting to go, man. We're just trying to touch up some of these highs. And so we'll talk about Ozark and talk about Netflix, right? So maybe that'll get Netflix going a little bit here. Looking to reload on Rivian as well. I'm just making sure that I don't have too many orders to get taken out on the upside if it does go upside because we already took an order out there. So yeah, all is well on that. So let's go back over to Rivian quickly. I do like a reload here. We already took, that was 57. This is on 2/3, by the way. We took out 57.50. We got 56.80. So we already took 70 cents on 2/3. I'm looking for a reload into this area and then out if we take out 58.60. So we're looking for a reload here on Rivian somewhere around 58.30. In this area if we can get it, and then out if we take out VWAP. But right now we'll just hold this 57 short and see if it can continue to somehow work out for us. Brendo?
Speaking of streaming, online streaming, Chinese company DouYu. Looks like Tencent planning on taking them private, so DOYU. There's also this one as well, HUYA, parent company up as well, so 10% here. Decent volume back to the upside for DOYU.
Oh, yeah. I mean, without knowing the terms of that, it's up 10%. Okay, I mean, I was just watching. That's actually a good volume one there. And actually, it's on my watch list. I don't know why I'm not paying closer attention to it. One name that I just want to quickly go over because it's getting close. GameStop is now double bottom here at 103. If you remember in the afternoon show, there was some interesting levels. That 102 area for the long break earlier in the day, and then there was a bit of a break post Powell to get you a couple of dollars, and then there's that 100 level. So that's what I'm looking for potential support down there on GameStop. Tesla is now, and we said to be patient with it as we start to turn around on the overall market. We'd be patient. Tesla now testing below that 890 level once again. So if it tries to make the bounce off of 885, hopefully this time I'll actually be able to get a trade that I want on Tesla, sitting in front of 888 as it just bounced off of 886. So 85 still in play.
Okay, so we're gonna go short on AMC here. I still can't believe how crappy Intel is, but that's a mistake by me. We'll just have to hold on to that and wait. And we also are, I mean, I don't know. What do we think about the NASDAQ here? I mean, I'm still thinking now that we've taken this out and the momentum's changed that we do like a negative move here, which is why we're going to go short on AMC. We do understand that our Intel is probably going to get out once we break through 48 there. Okay, maybe we are rebounding here a little bit. I don't know what to do with Netflix, guys. Like, I have an offer here at 386 just to get this out, but I still think that we could probably, you know what, let's get out of there. Let me cancel that because I still think we could take that out and go higher here. And I just feel stupid when we don't take out $7 on Netflix here when it's not really moving today. So that's a name that, you know, we'll look to see if it takes out this 388 or 387. Hopefully it does that and then we can get going on it. But for right now, it is what it is. And we do average into our play. We're going to get out of this AMC if it breaks above the 50 period right here, which is actually 26, but we're going to use VWAP, which is 30. So let's see what happens here with AMC. We just reloaded that one.
Yeah, I reloaded on ARDS, and that's starting to come right back into the downside, but I still want it below that 210, closer to 2. It's like, oh my God, the algos are hilarious on Tesla. Like, if you throw bids in the stock, it just starts running away from you. So it's like you have to take the fill against you. I think that was the problem the first time it got up here. Like, it's almost like you're getting in when it wants to slam to the downside. But look, I know 885 is going to be the level, so I finally got into position here and didn't have to chase too far past. And it's like immediately it's going to test that 885, like almost on the dime there. Actually, no, it is on the dime. It got to 885. So it's like once you get in, it's only when it's bad is when you're able to get into the position there. And why did my stop not? I got partial filled on the way out here in Tesla. So we'll get the rest out there. It's like that. It's a weird way the market's working here. On the way up, I could not get fills. I couldn't catch anything until it's like it wants to slam through the level. So we'll take the hit on Tesla. I should still be short Lucid, but I'm not. It's now down at that $30 level. That continues to fall. I said I got to fill in ARDS, so I'm going to handle the trades that aren't working and then go over to the ones that are, because it's soundly in the money now. Again, that 230 level is once again held. I might step a few bids up in between 205 to 210 just because of the way it held to $2 previously. So I'm going to make sure I have some bids down here to be able to get out. Intel has held those shekels below that 48 level. And then coming back over to the other name that we liked on a bit of a dip buy here. We're breaking 110 here on AMD, so we're getting pretty close to that 109 level. I'm not saying it has to fill, but now that you've broken, this is a failed break at the high of the day, and then starting to come back in. And usually I don't love catching bids when you have a failed breakout of the high of the day and then you start flushing back in. Like, that's to me almost like trend reversals. I'm not going to back off my bid because I had a tight stop, but if I didn't have a tight stop on the AMD, giving it to maybe 108 and then thinking about the low of the day, I would be canceling this bid. But like, that's one where it is a bit of a failed breakout, so I will put some caution towards it. Ooh, it's already 10 o'clock. Time to go to Brendan at the big screen for Happening Now.
Hey guys, yeah, 10 o'clock. Pending home sales in the U.S. number just came out there, 3.8% to the downside versus 0.8 expected. So big miss there for pending home sales. S&P 500 nicely positive here, 1.2%. The Dow the same, 1.25 even. All three, Russell 1000, 2000, and 3000, more than a full percent. The NASDAQ right at 1% for both the composite and the 100 right now here in Toronto, about the same. So yeah, nicely positive right across the board, but not a lot of action so far. Volume very, very low on the day. Lending Club we had on the watch list after earnings, big move down aftermarket yesterday. I mean, it tested below that through 17. We're back above 17 now. just kind of sitting there waiting to see what happens next. Microsoft, nicely strong. Wasn't on the watch list today, but off earnings, obviously worth a look off of yesterday. Did make a high there above that high from yesterday afternoon. But as you can see, coming back in for softy now as well, guys. Back over to you.
Yeah, a lot of things starting to come back in. The Goldman, like it was so fast. Like you might not. Sometimes it's hard to see it on the board, but I told you guys that 885 on Tesla, it came in, it tried to hold, it broke down through that level. So it's not to say that I'm completely done with it, but that's going to be in and out. I'm going to adhere to my stops every single time. And if I don't, that means I've made a mistake, winner or not. GameStop has broken, GameStop has broken down. It got to that 102 and made an initial bounce. So that's one name which is going hard to the downside. AMC, These tend to go like lock and step here. That's down to that 16 level. So, GameStop exactly where it was in the afternoon after the Powell bounce, whatever you want to call it, bouncing off that 102. It's already made its move. So now that it's gone and made that turn, now I like to get in. I like curls a little bit better than standing in front of the sword if I can get them. GameStop on the curl right now. And Lucid, this one, is it at 30 yet? No, it actually bounced. Yeah, 30.5 it looks like. So not quite at that $30 level. The gap on the daily is a little bit bigger than that, but I still think 30 is a round number. It might find some consolidation, but wow, that stock getting clapped continuously. I keep meaning to check back in on Rivian, but we got enough names that I'm looking at here.
Yeah, we'll get out another piece here on AMC. AMC right now, dab it up right there. We talked about going short on that AMC, and look what we just did, man. Cash, cash, cash. Cash rules everything around me, guys. So you could see a nice little move to the downside there. Good trade for me on that one, so pretty happy there on AMC. You stick your neck out and you put some shares on, so it's nice to see when they work out for us. Netflix bouncing around. Rivian now back below sub 57, which is nice, man. That's where we're short. We did not get the reload on that one, so we'll beat up on this bad name here a little bit. The biggest disgrace for me is this Intel trade. I talk about this name not liking it, and yet I'm still here long. It's going to be my whole day, basically, on this stock is one trade. So that kind of sucks. But we'll see what happens right now as the market's starting to get back juicy style again. We'll see if we want to rally into this. Netflix now, let's go. I hear Brad saying, let's go. I'm with you, buddy. We've got the diamond hands right now on Netflix. Bang on Netflix right there. We'll bring the heat for you guys one more time, and we spit the money out right there coming out of our butt today as Netflix ripping higher, higher, higher right there. And we called this one. If you're looking for some resources, check out the sticky note. It's the most loved note on Twitter. 148 likes, I think more. Let's refresh that and see where we're at right here. 148, Weir's no more. Hit the like on that, make me right. 150, 70 retweets. Netflix all over this. Man, there's a $5 trade for you right there. And the most risk we had. So we're in the money now 7. The biggest risk we had was 3. So it's not bad. Almost 2 to 1. Well, a little bit better than 2 to 1 right there on Netflix as we take out the highs. And then look at this one right now. We beating up a little bit of AMC as it just has $16 as well. $8 in the money, 40 cents in the money here. Ford, we're rocking and rolling today. I hope you're enjoying it. It's been a good one, guys.
Yeah, I just got out of the first dollar on a GameStop there, so it makes that curl would bounce off 102. Remember, just go back to the levels from yesterday. They were pretty solid, the post-Powell moves. It might have some trouble getting past 103.50, but we like that level for support. If it gets up, I'm looking at 104 as the ultimate out. I'm not letting it take out the low of the day. 100% not gonna let it happen. Intel, we got back to that first level. No, why do I have 2 offers there? There we go. The second level up is just in front of VWAP and 48.50. So remember I said give it a few cents below that 48 level because on the daily chart it actually broke 48 the last time. So that's what we did there. You know what? I'm not going to go split hairs. It's close enough to VWAP that I should be taking my second out. If it can get past VWAP, I'm looking for 48.75 and then $49 over there on INTC. It looks like we're about $1.70 now on Sierra, but I do keep wanting to check back in on it because its phantom bids keep showing up. This one at $27.30. If this breaks, I think we're getting $26. But the longer it holds, I got to be concerned about this lower range it has at about 27 to 28. If it breaks back up, I'll have to consider a trailing stop. Right now, it looks like the long starting to work out, or at least some of these off the bottom starting to work out, with the exception of Groupon, which looks relatively weak. And like I said on ARDS, yes, I would get some shares out between 205 and 210. Previously, I want to make sure I'm half out if it breaks $2. I'm still right on target with that plan. I should have half the position in the event that it breaks 2 and heads that back down the next quarter. Miss V.
Hey guys, it's like o'clock. We need just 400 more likes to get 2,000. So team, please, if you're passionate about trading, if you enjoy the show and the community, make your contribution and give us your like. Back to you guys.
Let's go, Intel. It's your birthday. The trade that we were trash talking. Let's go, Netflix as well. Miss V, Superman is in the building today, baby. As we go long, long, long. Look at AMC. Boom, we kill that one as well. We're killing Ford. We have $9 in the money right now on Netflix, as that's still going to the upside. Rivian to the downside. And look at Intel, man. We just held. We used that 48 as a bottom, and now it's starting to get some out as we rip back up to VWAP and to the 50-period moving average. So all is well over here, guys, as we continue to rock and roll. And I hope that you have some of these trades. This has been a very, very good day one more time. So let's give it over to Brendo.
Indonesia Energy Corporation, guys, just checking on, I don't see any headlines on this, but a little tiny energy stock here. Oh, wow. 1.5 million free float on this one. INDO up 82%, trying to get higher, guys.
82%? Oh my goodness. If we're going to get to view up and start stalling, I'm going to take another leg out here, thinking if we don't get to 49, then I want to be all out in front of 48.75. There was a consolidation point here for sure on the way back down that I should not be ignoring on Intel. So I want to make sure we take the profit. But I did. It was INDO, and that's on the 8th. That's why I got it wrong. It's .am. INDO. I knew I was missing out on something. It already halted once. When anything halts a second time, almost regardless of where the price is, that's where I look for fades. It's also getting to some levels on the daily at about 650, which makes some sense to me. I got to go jump to see if we can pay for some shorts on it, but INDO firmly on the radar. If it halts a second time, then I'm no longer thinking about any longs. Thank you guys for getting us to the 2K likes. Oh, come on, break that. Sierra's about to break the bottom. Hopefully we will get that $3 on it, but INDO is all over my radar here. If I take a short, it's got to be either breaking 6 going to 650 or post second halt.
Yeah, this has been a rocking day, man. We're now $10 in the money for Netflix, and I hope you guys are also on this trade. We just tweeted out that on our sticky note as well. Good trade here for NFLX as that keeps on working. We're getting a little nervous here for AMC as it's just kind of bottoming out here, which is fantastic because we're short up here. So it's always nice when you're getting stock out lower than where you're short. If you're joining us for the first time, purple is going to be, I'll take another bid here on AMC if I can get it. 13s, there it is. Purple short, so greens buys, that they're always going to stay the same. And then when we're selling something like Intel right now, which is now 25 cents in the money, they're going to turn out to be red. So if you're noticing any of these little dots, or I guess they're inverted or proper triangles here, depending on which way we're going. Let's go Intel, man. The Diamond Hand King, not King, Kid is here. And by Kid, I mean not. As we get ready to rock and roll to the upside here. I don't even, I guess in Intel broke, you have INDO, is that what you
No,
is it a halt?
INDO's halting to the upside, but I got to get it unblocked in the system. It's sometimes on really low float, low volume names here, Day Trade the World, they're blocked for risk purposes. Then you have to request to make sure there's extra interest in it and extra volume in it to get it unblocked to trade today. No ticket was put in. I got to make sure I put a ticket in for that. But it just halted to the upside. I was going to try to get on the bid for that halt trade, but the order rejects because it was blocked.
Yeah, we love that.
INDO got to make sure. Got to make sure it gets unblocked. It happens, man. It is what it is. Like Brendan just brought it to our attention a couple of minutes ago. Whoops, that's still INDO. Going back over to Groupon. By the way, we got to 205 on ARDS, so I am out half my position in front of that too, and look to see if we can get more. Holding the low of the day was Groupon there, now bouncing back. If it gets to VWAP, I'll take some out in front of 28, and then hold on just to see if this bad boy can run. Like I said, for Intel, if it gets past this cluster, I'm shooting between 48.75 and 49 for my last out there on INTC. So it gets there, it does. The second trade, no matter what, is going to be a profitable one. I got to get that ticket in for INDO. And Tesla, if you're watching, it tried again to bounce. I'm not in it, but it's still consolidating about 895. And I look back over at Lucid as it's trying to break. And Lucid still off the lows of the day as well. So that stock's continually getting punished. Sierra, I know it's only $2, but If it's a capitulation, the only level I want on Sierra is $26 because previous resistance turns into new support, and I think that's what it has to be. So I'm on the bid, and I've been there for at least the last like 10, 15 minutes trying to get 26 on Sierra. Felt like a capitulation day. It never gave you 31s. You were able to get it at the lower high. Let's see if we can finally hit our target on SRRA as I'm going to get that ticket.
Oh, my God.
Oh my God, look at this, guys. $12 now. $12 now in the money as we drop grenades for you. It's $10 in the money off the sticky note. And again, thank you so much, guys, on the chat. It means a lot to me. This is why I do the sticky note. This is why, I mean, if you can't tell, I love trading, and that's why we're here for you every single day. That's what spurned this show, guys. We're here to educate you. We're here to trade. We're here to show you guys that it's very, very capable of putting on these trades. We're very lucky to have a smiling guy like Rob over there, always very, very happy guy. We definitely like that. But look at what Intel's doing, guys. Sometimes you got to hold on to your stock, but I do hate this name today because it's been the only one that hasn't rolled us down some cash right now, Intel. But here we go. We're long at 48.29 right now. It's just an average price. You guys can see we've averaged this all in. If I would have held everything till now, we'd be positive on this name, but it comes up to VWAP and we just get out of that, right? So, I mean, I was pounding the table when it was down 7%. I didn't think that it was going to be down that bad. I thought the 3% was too high, was too low, down. So right now, we'll see what's happening here with Intel. I think it's probably worth taking some more out. My best out here is 72s, but maybe we can even rip a little bit higher. We're going to watch out for 49 as a key area there. Oh my God, right now, spit it. Money. Netflix right now, guys. $13 in the money on NFLX off of the sticky note. We making money together. Hopefully you guys are too. This is going to be good, man. You're welcome, Jerry Hernandez. Thank you for making the show. How about thank you for watching, Jerry? So thank you so much there for that. This is what it's all about, man. And yeah, exactly right, Al Newton. This is why we take the long. Pershing Square, we've got this. We love you too. Thank you, Jadu. No problem. You're welcome. Let's just keep this party going. How about $13 now in the money for this trade? Hold on a second. We're going to do this because we're going over to Ms. V. Just wait 1 second. There we go. There we go, Ms. V. What's up now?
Hey, Sean, we've got a super chat from Shivam. Shivam Kakar, second one on the day, though. Thank you so much, Shivam. And a great message. He tagged all of us, sent a heart emoji, and said, amazing Netflix up 4,000 today. Great job, Shivam. Back to you guys.
Good job. Execute your plan. Make the profit. Watch out for Intel, though. It's trying to hold VWAP here. It's a good level. If it can hold 48.50, obviously bouncing at 48 and holding 48.50 would be good for it. I'm going to get the out if I'm going to have a stop of about 20 to 25 cents. A lot of times in a downward trend, I don't want to fight it too far. If I was short a name that got to a key level and bounced, I would short the top and retrace it to VWAP. And I think the same thing makes sense for me when I'm going counter trend on a long trade. So I want to make sure I hold out for that. Going to go back to ARDS, which this is the one we were sitting in the pre-market pretty much the entire time while we reviewed. It then flushed at the open to $2. I said half out. Oops, I actually have one more bid, so yeah, check that. One more bid, half out in front of that $2 range. If it breaks this, I think it gets down to that 175 mark. Not necessarily in a hurry, because these small caps sometimes take some time, but if you can catch this in the 220s to 230 and get past $2, I think that'll be a good return for us. But I am making sure I took that profit, because 10% is great. Brendo.
All right, the big one coming tonight, Apple, obviously. Bloomberg reporting earlier this morning, Apple planning on turning iPhones into payment terminals to rival, I mean, it says Square, but Block, obviously. So Apple, 2.3%. Again, earnings after market tonight, guys.
That INDO, by the way, it's opened up. It did not halt a third time that I can see, but I don't know why it didn't just halt there. I mean, it went from 620 all the way up to 750. I'm guessing it probably resisted a halt. This would usually, resisting a halt up there past that 650 target area on the daily chart and then holding below. Like, that would be a possible short entry if we take that breakdown price, but it's still blocked in our system last I checked. But that's a big level on the daily, as we mentioned before, guys. Getting above that 650 mark is going to be huge for this name. GameStop, of course I did it. Did I leave my stop in when I got my profit targets? Of course I did. Yeah, I'm going to get out. I'm going to pay the spread on GameStop to be able to get out of this, because that's definitely a keystroke error on GME. We're able to get everything we wanted on GameStop all the way to 104, but I didn't cancel my stop out of the long, so I'm just going to pay the spread, get out of it right away. Sometimes I'll ring the register and focus on the next trade instead of celebrating it, but what I should have done more importantly was canceled my stop order on GameStop. Watch out for 100 on this name. The last time it took 100, you did have a bit of a bottom well below, down around 86 bucks. So if it reclaims 100, there is a lot of room. First stop is 96 and then down to 88. Still above 100 for now, though.
Okay, guys. I mean, GameStop is one story. AMC is a completely other one for me today as we spit out the cash right now and do some backflips. Look at AMC drop. We have this trade. We just took some out at 95. We'll take out again here at 80. We still are looking at, someone said, what's the logic in short AMC? I don't know. How about this? But we'll go right now down to 1585, and we'll just see where it goes from here. I do have a bid out. I think this is a big move to the downside. It just flushed 16. I think that's all. And now it's holding out pretty good. I still do notice, though, that there is obviously this 1550 level that was somewhat of a concern for this trade. So there it is right now. We will empty that out on AMC and then just like, yes, sir, diamond hand a little bit on that one. And again, I'm well aware, like I'm with a lot of the bulls here, and a shout out to you, Niagara Charlie, as well. We are, yep, everyone sees that, guys. But we are also here, just acknowledging the fact that I think there is going to be a bull run in AMC. It's just, when it gets to certain levels and when the market starts, reacting the way it is, and AMC's down today on a plus market. So sometimes, I do favor one way or the other, and we just favored a short here. And really the big trade is just the fact that we got this. I mean, this is really nothing there at 1650, although here it goes right back to the downside. Darn it, probably should have held that. I do like a little bit of a break short. We talked about that through 1550. So if that happens, we'll try a small short. But again, well aware that there's going to be an exhaustion point on AMC where this just gets bought up. The calls start getting bought and this thing runs again. But wow, what a great day this has been for us here, man. We're still only $10 in the money as Netflix starting to fall back down a little bit. We are getting a little bit concerned about this trade. However, it's going to be my number one trade, and we'll see if it takes out 390 one more time. I got to get out at the top. If we can come back anywhere to 393, I definitely think that's worth taking. But we do have a drop spot here of 389. I don't want to take that out, but we may have to.
This INDO resisted a halt again. It just broke $8 and continues to scream. We actually don't have locates on this one at all. It actually just came up as unavailable. I'll keep seeing if that changes, but that's twice now since it reopened the second time that it has gone basically close to a halt band and pulled back in, broken back out, gone to a halt band and pulled back in. When I see that, if it ends up halting up, it's almost certainly a short if it halts a third time, or at least post that third halt. Brendan's at the big screen because it's already time for the small cap recap as this one goes nuts.
Yeah, pretty quiet morning overall, low volume as we were talking about. I mentioned this Groupon just before the open. I managed to make a pretty good mess of Groupon this morning so far. Had two stops above 28.5, got hit on both of those and then some. So stopped out of the first attempt. We're back below this 27.5. So I mentioned 27.5 and then 28.5 at the top. So give this to 27.5. Even a test of the low end of the range here would be nice. But yeah, volume a bit of an issue for Groupon so far. ARDS putting me to sleep at this point as well. There was 230. I mean, you could have used 220, I guess, as well, but grinding to the downside, volume drying up very quickly on that one. We'll see how far it can make its way lower. SRRA was a good one this morning. 29.50 was a bit of a pivot here in the pre-market, 30.5 above that. So wide range on this one. We're all the way down to 27. It just kept failing lower, so any kind of pop to the upside just got smacked back down. So that was a pretty obvious short for me. On the way back down for SRRA from a couple of days ago. This small cap recap brought to you by BitGet, guys, the top crypto trading copy platform. Sign up now to earn $158 in rewards. You can use the QR code below. Check out BitGet, guys.
And there we go. I just want to quickly show you something. As Intel rolls over, and by the way, on the
whoever put hardly working is going to win that chat.
He's having fun while he's working hard.
No, he's not working hard. I think Randy would admit that. You're not working too hard there, are you, Randy? Nah, he ain't working hard. But we are out right now of that Netflix. Sometimes diamond hands do hurt a little bit as we let this go all the way to the upside, and then we give up this $4 from its high and get out there at 389. So we do get out of Netflix there on that drop back down in. It sucks for sure because we did have a much bigger win. But actually, hold on a second. I got to make sure I cancel some of these orders now because we're good. So that's good. Okay. But anyways, out of Netflix. Just want to let everybody know that we will take that smooth. That's 379. That's a $10 win right there. But it does, we were just thinking here, the NASDAQ, and again, this may be or may not be, I don't know. I think Brennan should have the trade of the day there on that SRRA. But I think that, with the NASDAQ, and I don't know if it's going to age well or not, but I was just thinking here, we're already up. We've seen the NASDAQ pull in a lot, and, it's my best trade today. It's my number one name. AMC is close to it as well. Rivian's up there. But I just wanted to make sure I took that profit and that we didn't. Because the NASDAQ is hitting through its 50 period, I just didn't want to see this happen because then I'd have to make a decision down here. So I'd rather just make it upside. Obviously, a better decision would be here. Randy's doing this, guys, because we're getting ready to renovate, right? And so big time renovations happening. We're going to cover up all the computers behind us where traders will be sitting if and when we open. I still can't get over the fact that Ontario has $5.50 a gallon gas, and everybody else pays a hell of a lot less than that. Where's my pen?
I'm sorry, I love Steve G in there. It's not being busy that counts. It's looking busy that matters. Honestly,
Randy does that the best.
But in all honesty, we actually have to make sure when the renovations go down that all the stations are covered. We had a bit of an issue with that last time that you know about. It was dusty, and then you don't want the equipment getting. Anyone that knows anything about electronics, I don't know a ton, knows that you have to get this done. So, good on Randy.
It's just he's not working hard. My whole point is he working? Yes. Is he working hard? I think Randy can admit that this is not the truth. Right, Randy? Yeah, he's working hard. He's working real hard right there. Without Randy doing this, it would be me. So I will take Randy doing it all day, every day. And I get the feeling that we'll be doing this anyways at some point. AMC getting ready to kick down lower right now. AMC right here taking out that 1550. So we will try a short, man. We still should have this one, but we don't. It takes out that 1550. Now this is a touchy spot here because we've already been down here before and it bounced. So we got as low as 14, of course, but we got to watch out for these levels as AMC going to the downside.
Yeah, and remember, I just got into AMD. The post-Powell bottom, or whatever I don't know what I'm calling the bottom of it. That's about this 108.50 area. So first leg on AMD was at 108.75. 108 is also the key area of support. By the way, $2 did break on ARDS, so we got my last fill, and now I'm at 90, in front of 95, in front of 90, in front of 85. That's just a relatively simple plan there. And then INDO, it got unblocked for us, still no locates. It just made a wick top at $9. I say this every single time with these stocks. No one ever went broke taking profit. If you're long this, there's going to be a capitulation that comes with it, and it just made a hard wick top through an even dollar at 9. It still hasn't halted a third time somehow, by the way, but if it does, I'm going to keep trying to get locates on it, but it doesn't seem like we're going to be able to get them here today because they're not even quoting us a price.
All right. Yeah, Randy and I just playing around, man. I've known Randy for literally 21 years. So shout out to Randy in the background there. Okay, so we have emptied out now AMC. Oops, that's not AMC. We're not emptying out it, but we did take some out, 30% out here at 43s, 44s, things like that. So, and now we're just going to try to hold the rest. And we do have a target. If we can take out this 75 back to the upside, that's where we'll get out. That's yesterday's bottoms. So if they want to retake that and go back to the upside with AMC, that's fine. You're still down that 3%, but today it's just been short here on AMC. And I know I'm not even looking at the chat because I'll probably get some slack for being short on AMC. But again, we're just day traders, guys. And I think that AMC does have a good opportunity. I don't know, it's not really doing anything right now, to go back to the upside a lot, like aggressively. I've seen the moves happen. And even right now, I'm even getting nervous at that 1550 that there's no more sellers here. So we'll see if it continues to go back to the downside. But right now, I'm eagerly watching that 1575 and seeing where we go. I'm going to check back in on Netflix quickly here just to see. Okay, good. So I know I'll be mad at this because this probably closes higher than where we got out, but so far so good. Because right now I'd be having a mini panic attack on where to get out because I'd feel like I've given up all of this trade, and now that I'm out of it, I can focus on other names. That's part of it. And when you're trying to focus on other names, how does this taste right now on Rivian? We're short at 57.50, guys. It's all here on the sticky note. I hope you guys watch that. This is $1.15 in the money now, Neil, on Rivian. So this is going to be a good trade.
Yeah, someone just said IMPP's halted. The stock has done 240,000 shares. Please trade it with caution. And this is not like first halt. It's done 240,000 shares. This is like second or third halt, I think it looks like, and it's done only that much. Just checking back in on why it's not flipped to Lucid. Lucid's still holding that $30 level. So the 38.3 entry does fill most of the gap into the downside. I only took $1 on Lucid, and I'm ashamed to say I took $1 on Lucid. I'm not going to celebrate taking $1 on Lucid on that short because there should have been a heck of a lot more. And return-wise, it seems okay, but it's the gap that I was talking about, and it's the gap that's getting filled in. 28.50 is the bottom on this gap. And 28.50 is kind of, if we break 30s here, I think that's where I would be stepping in, trying to catch a bit of a long. If I saw a few 100,000 shares on the bid at 30 even, I would scalp it. But I'm not even seeing size on the bid of Lucid right now. It's just absolutely dying. And Sierra has cracked 27. I'm still bidding the exact same place I was before. We'll see if it can get down there. I haven't gotten the fill just yet on ARDS. That has cracked its low as well. Whoops. That has cracked that low of 2 and is right on the bid at 95. So another couple of ticks and we'll be able to get our next leg out on ARDS. But Lucid, man, that's going to be a missed opportunity for you. I refuse to be happy about that because I was even saying to Greg, I'm like, watch Lucid when it breaks that 33. Look at the gap on the daily chart. And it was Tesla. It was looking at Tesla off 885 and that may be bouncing and then missing the bounce and then saying, oh, well, I'll get out of Lucid as a proxy. That's a mistake, not celebrating the win.
All right, we're celebrating wins on this side today, pretty good. Okay, we're getting averaged in here. Okay, so we just took out of Intel. That's going to be a negative trade. Again, it shows as a sell because I did have an order up here, but I cannot believe how lucky we were to get out of this one. So when it came all the way back up here, that we just held that last 10% and got out there. So very, very pleased with that. Some orders are just firing off here like crazy. Oh, it's AMC back to the downside. So we were just getting nervous about AMC, and I put some more orders at the same spots again. So 42s, 44s. Now let's hold this. We do have that target, of course, of 75. If it comes back up, we will get out of that one. If it comes back up. I'm going to celebrate Rivian. A good trade down to $1.50 now in the money. And I still think Rivian, what is the all-time low here on Rivian? I believe we're at it right now, down another 7%. Rivian's been, 55, I guess. We touched in that crazy day when everything got cranked there. So Rivian to the downside. I just got filled on something else there. What was it? That was another AMC bid down to 39s right now. But Rivian, we hold this short. It's still going to the downside, man. It's $1.30 in the money, $12 in the money. Dance, Robbie, dance. As we keep going to the downside right now on this stock. What a great day this has been, man. We're spinning out the cash. The only negative trade we have on board today, Intel. And thank God it's not even that bad, man. We're down 25 cents on this name, and that's an incredible play because considering where it's been and where it's going, I cannot believe we're only down 25 cents on Intel.
It's actually coming right back to that 48 level. So if the market does find a bottom, I'm not even thinking the market finds a bottom, but that's the only defensible level that's worked so far in the stock. So I would give it a shot if it can make that bounce. Someone just said, like, what's the next level on Tesla? I thought we mentioned $850, and that should stand like a sore thumb. That's just the Monday double bottom at $850 on Tesla. So a lot of those capitulation bottoms on Monday could get retested if the market does want to come down here. And AMD next level down's that 105 area. So for me, just like on Intel, on AMD, like I'm going to sit there and I'm going to have my first level come in, and on my 15-minute chart, it's going to look like a blended fill. But again, it's just going to have a tight stop at that level. Like it's the same thing I would do taking 1 or 2 shots. I think the next level down is at 105. It's the pre-market low. So we'll see if it gets down to there, and that's the only price I'll take it back in. I was able to stay profitable on Intel because of that. So I want to make sure we're going to go back to that game plan over on that name. And if you're looking at Indo, it's trying to retest that high. And I'm gonna check one more time if we get locates. Otherwise, I'm gonna give up. But it's now double topping at that same $9 range. It's gonna be a great short, which is why I want to make sure I can see at least try to be able to get it. Because when it does come back in, you'll be able to get dollars on the move. Possibly being able to risk like 30 to 40 cents.
All right, and you always have to look at the risk versus reward, obviously, on all of these trades. As we sit $1.50 in the money, $1.70 in the money on Rivian, we are noticing, obviously, that Ford is coming back in. We have not traded. I know Neil put a trade on Tesla. We'll have to look at that at some point. But again, if this breaks through 20, there's no point in staying here. So we'll wait to see as, yes, AMC just keeps cracking lower, man. We are just cashing out right now on AMC. It's been a good trade, but we got to worry a little bit about Ford here as it's starting to break lower. So we'll put an order in It's going to break right now. We can just manually punch this out, I guess. It's not a big position for us, but there it is. So we'll wait a second here. Make sure it goes a little bit lower than that price because it just resisted it. So we'll wait to see if it goes lower. We're not heavy into this trade. Just to give you an idea, we have 60% of the shares that we had right here. So it is coming to the downside. This will put us negative on Ford, depending on what price we get here. But again, this just came into us. We were sitting down here. It was supposed to be part of this average, which is why it's just a half of a trade. So we'll wait to see where Ford goes. We're still long at 14. It's not going to be pretty. But there goes Rivian right now, man. We're diamond handing this one as much as we can, down to 55.50 right now, $1.50 in the money to match with a nice trade here on AMC, as this is now down. Look at this, short, short, short again, and just cashing out. My next bid on AMC is actually at 16 cents. So let's see if that can work. What's up, Bren?
Not seeing any news on this yet, but Shift Pixie, a recent high flyer here, flying around indeed. Back to 155 here on volume. Was actually testing higher initially and then just got slammed back down on big volume. So down 10% here for PIXY. Let's get a check on how things in Europe are shaping up. Miss B's watching. What's going on over there? What's up?
Hey, Brandon, European markets are back to the positive territory after earlier losses. Software company SAP trading in Germany is down around 5% after it has agreed to buy a majority stake in fintech company Thalia. And while I'm here, guys, please don't forget to like this video. We're super close to 3,000 likes, and me and Rob are super excited to hit our 3,000 likes animation. So go long on the like button, and back to you, Brendan.
There may or may not be a friendly wager on said animation, so we'll see what happens, guys. But yeah, big move down there in the market.
You can't say there's a friendly wager and then not tell us what the wager is. I'm calling shenanigans on that one, but yeah, I mean, Lucid just broke 30, so I took the short on Lucid, breaking 30. I got slipped to 94. That gives you an idea how much liquidity there is on this thing. It's crazy. It's also SSR. It's down 11% on the day. So quarters and then 50s for the scalp trade. And then from there, on the daily chart, I told you 28.50 is the next level down. So I guess that's where I would probably try to hold until. But it took me too long to re-enter the trade. Like, there should have been a re-entry possibly off 32 or maybe off 31.5. But this is where it happens to be. I did get some more shares out because we reclaimed 2 of ARDS. So it tried to pop down. I was on the bid at 95, and then it held 95. So I got a few more shares out there. I'm down to a third of the position now. Still pretty solid, but I was shooting for 40 to 50 cents on some of this position. But as it does barcode a little bit, we'll make sure we get some more profit out. And guess what's not really doing anything off this bottom, which can be good, because I got the consolidation on Groupon, and it's still consolidating. If it can break back out, I'm not getting anything out till it retests VWAP in 28 even. My stop's at that 50 level to the downside, so the risk to reward is still pretty solid with Groupon, of course, the news. Brennan already brought you guys the news, but holding the lows from yesterday and the pre-market here, I think gives it a chance to retest some of those tops. We went 0 for 1, but maintained a tight stop so that we could re-enter the trade again and see if it has another shot to run back towards those highs. Don't
worry, we're still here, guys. Bang right there on AMD with a nice little win as we go to the upside here on AMD. Where is my offer? 108.30 right here on AMD. We just take a long. It's down into that area that we like, 107.50. So let's see if it goes up to the upside. We thought we got that fill at 80 there. We did not. That would have been like 70 cents in about 30 seconds there. But now AMD is falling down, so watch out for this one, guys. Rivian still $1.50. Great trade on Lucid through that bottom of 30. I cannot believe where Lucid is, man. That was a great idea to grab those puts or write those calls. We have Daniel Shea coming out later on tonight. Thank you, Daniel, for the social media and everything like that. On a side note here, come on, just go up AMD a little bit more, guys. I cannot believe where that just went to. I mean, we were at 108.30. It went to 108.28. Something like that right there. So hopefully that keeps going upside. Normally when I complain about that, it will come up and hit me. So here we go. Let's go. One more time. We'll see if we can get this upside. One more. There it is. There's the fill right there. So just about as easy as you can get. We putting on another one for you guys right there. A quick 70 cents off this AMD bottom. The kiss of death, we give that stock right there. 172 now in the money on Rivian as we're trying to hold that one. No bouncing for that one as our Raptors continue to play quite well, but they need Van Fleet back. They almost beat the Bulls yesterday in Chicago. That would have been pretty sweet. And then look at Ford, man. Ford, I thought we got this print, but we did not. So Ford came back up. I started to get some out there. I have an 08 offer. I thought we got it. We don't. But just to show you that if that was going to go back up, we were trying to get some out. So we did get some out there at 04. And then I thought I have an offer at 08. Doesn't fill, but maybe that does fill at some point there. But that's what that is. And then AMD, man, like we just took on it 63 cents. So we just took 63 cents on AMD there. And the thing about it is, you know, now, like with this risk reward, it's 1-to-1. This is why we're doing that. Like now, if it drops below 107, we can get out here and at the same time be flat on the trade. So that's how we're trading. That's what we're doing. And so far, so good today. It's been a monster day. I hope you guys are having a good time and having a great day as well.
Lucid just flushed again. I did get some shares out of 29.50, but that's not the chart I want to show you because INDO just made another test above $9. It got to $9.20, failed at the exact same price it did before, and then came back down. It's now pulled back off of $9 twice. We still don't have any locates, so look, just because like, I can't be in the trade right now. If I could, I would be short at 8.75 with a stop at 9.25, willing to risk 50 cents to try to make $1.50. And it's just that's what I'd be trying to do right now. But like I said, we don't have any locates. But that's the trade I'm looking at. At least that's the chart I'm looking at. Lucid got to that 29.50. That's just a simple 30 break to 75s to 50s. And then the level on the daily chart is 28.50. So that's what we're holding out for on that name. We finally made that next breakdown on Sierra. So it just capitulated again. I think this should finally take it to that 26 mark. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time. And if you're looking at the overall market, which we should be, of course, the NASDAQ, it's still up 0.5%. I don't think they've just pulled back a lot, but you know, you're really at those consolidation points from early in the morning. You're back about a couple of hundred points, but nowhere near some of the support down like your 14,000, which we've been bouncing back and forth at. So still positive overall to see how individual sectors are doing. We get to go to Brendan at the big screen, and it's still mostly green.
Hey guys, yeah, quick check of the overall market here. S&P 500, 0.85 in positive territory. Pretty good day right across the entire board. Basically everything you see in red had some sort of news or related news for it today. Healthcare group, there's really these two, HCA and EW, that's it. Everything else nicely positive on the day. There's Bristol Myers, Pfizer even 2.3% to the upside. Merck below that, AbbVie with an upgrade today as well. Some of the travel names in negative territory. There's RCL, it's moving around here. RCL, LVS, Hilton, CCL even. Cruise lines to the downside. There was an upgrade on Norwegian today. It's kind of bucking that trend, but everything else in the consumer discretionary group in positive territory. Material stocks over here, very, very strong. There's been a couple of days to the downside for metals. So mining stocks getting a nice bounce back after gold moved higher this morning. Netflix here, 7.7%. On that Bill Ackman note this morning. Good day for them. There's Seagate, I mentioned, 15% off earnings. TER was earnings, 27% to the downside. There's Now as well. Same story, 10% higher. So a whole bunch of earnings in the tech group kind of offsetting each other. Intel included in that, 6% to the downside. Xilinx about 4.5% higher. So lots of individual news stories offsetting each other here. But tech stocks are actually higher on the day. Not a lot, but higher on the day. Same story with banks down here. Nothing exciting really in the banking group, but overall 0.65 now coming back in, guys.
Teradyne's down 28%. Like when I sat down, these guys, I thought it was like 15 or something like that. And I'm sitting there thinking I might get a shot at shorting. It was Lending Club, but apparently just go at Teradyne. This is huge support in the daily for these guys, like down at 104, 105 price area, and it looks like it's just trying to bounce off it. 28%. That's.
I mean, what's your ASML? I mean, it's not your
crazy.
ASML, but what is those stocks doing? Because that's very similar.
Lamb bounced. Well,
I mean, Lamb reported, right?
Never mind. LC.
Or was that yesterday? I don't know.
Come on, there we go. Yeah, Lamb's, it's down 7%, but realistically, compared to what it did in the aftermarket, and like this is like I was like just befuddled when I was in the train looking at this because we were obviously watching Tesla after its report, but Lamb had no bid. It dropped $80, $80 in the post market. It's actually rebounding a little bit, but it's getting crushed here. But Teradyne, it just goes to show like there are some names out there in the tech space that they're not horrible companies, but getting beat up, like the bids aren't really there, so you have to let them settle down. But this was not. I didn't think the volume was there, but $100 on Teradyne. It might be, like, I might take a shot at this one if it just tries to hold a consolidation. It's $3 worth of risk. VWAP's all the way up at like 107 on this thing, 27%. Wow, that got ugly fast.
We'll talk about this in a minute, but GFS also another name there below IPO price right now. So if you bought that one anytime in its anytime, you'd be down right now. But I like that name. I mean, I'd like to get some of these names. Man.
Remember, GFS doesn't make money yet. They're not
right.
profitable.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem. But anyways, that's a good name to look at if you do like the chip space. Again, an underrated name maybe in the futures. But look at AMC, guys. The pins just set up today for AMC all day for me. That was a good trade. We've been still on AMD. No, we need AMC, I said. There it is. Right now, look at this, man. I mean, short here, 1640s, 1620s. Short again on the 1550 break. That is all about the sticky note here today, guys. AMC could be short if we break below 1550. So there it is right now. Now you're at 15 flat on that name. So that's a 50-cent winner here for us. $2 in the money on Rivian. Again, another name that's been completely beat down for us today, down 8%, and we hold this one. And there it is right there. I mean, we could get out if it takes out 55.50, the top of that last wick. So someone tried to buy this thing up 50 cents, and it just came all the way back to the downside. So what I'm doing now is, I know it's 10:42. Wow, that's actually later than I thought, is trying to figure out where we're going to get out of this, right? I mean, and I love holding things until the cows come home, but at the same time, like, and you guys have seen that, right? My trading has changed. Like, I'm holding things longer. We're cashing in. We're having a monster day today. A lot of big winners here for us, including AMD. We're holding this one right now as well, as we've averaged into this name. I do have an upside target here. It just bounces off that 107. I think Neil has this as well. You were talking about AMD today.
No, I want 108 out, and then I'm looking for 5s. This is the next level down.
5s, okay, yeah. So
it's almost the same plan as Intel somehow.
Yeah, hopefully this goes back up. We're back in the money on this. We've already taken 70 cents clean on this one. So I don't know if it's going to be a trap or not, but we're going to wait to see what happens. We're belly dancing so far today as AMC right there, trying to take out 15. Let's see if it does that, man. It's very bottom there, 1490. So we'll see if we can get that print coming through here on AMC. But right now, AMD, guys, dipping below 107 is not going to be nice. So we do have our targets down below there for an out. So watch out if that's going to happen. Rivian still now taking what? It just hit 54.70.
Oh, I just got trailed out of Lucid.
To the downside, yeah. Lucid ripping back up, I guess. So we'll watch out for Rivian.
Where did Rivian go?
Nothing. Okay. Rivian's still fine. Rivian's still at its lows. But we are going to watch out. There are a lot of wicks here. So I think that's what could happen. So we're going to watch out for this. This may be a good spot to get out, but we're really just crashing down here, man. What a good day it's been for us today. I feel like, there's reasons why I love this job, and it's for you guys. It's for trading, and it's just like, I love coming to work every single day. There's so many opportunities. I was saying this to Tony the Tiger. It's like coming into here today is like the casino's open every single day, and it's not even a casino because, like, I don't have any negative months in like the last 3 or 4 years. You can't go to a casino every day and come out there a winner, right? Month over month, if you
Ever
can.
see the movie No.
Yeah, exactly. Then they ban those guys. I'm not even banned from the stock market.
Count cards, baby.
We loving it. Yeah, it is like I'm counting cards.
I also happen to think poker is a game of skill, but I think that's some people don't agree with that. But I tend to think that there's a skill level to poker, which is going beyond the odds. By the way, Groupon made a push, and thank goodness we actually had an offer in front of VWAP because. Look, this is complete happenstance. Like, I was just sitting here at 27.70 the whole time in front of VWAP, which happened to be where we stopped out before, and it ends up being significant because I got tagged, took the 60 cents, and now I can get back on the bid a little bit lower. So that's going to be the plan of action. I'm just looking for this to make a run like it did. It made a run all day yesterday, but I'll get right back in on the bid. Probably, you know what? That's not even a good entry price. Forget about 85s. I'll go like 26.90s. 26.90, somewhere in that range, somewhere in the middle of that cluster that it's made at the bottom, and then see if I can rinse and repeat the VWAP, hold to the high of the day at 29 even. Just want to see if we can give that one a little bit more room. And then I talked about Lucid with a bit of a trail out there. So it got back to that 30 level. I'm taking a breakdown trade. It's a tighter stop than a rollover where I have an entry off a key support. So if it's a key area of support or resistance and I'm willing to hold it to that price area, when I take a breakdown, if it goes quarters, 50s and comes back in, I'm not holding it through. Like, it's a different style of trade. It's not a curl off of VWAP. It's not a curl off of resistance. So it'll be profitable. But it's also now time to send you guys to one of our favorite guests. He's in the building, just in time.
There it is. We have to make actual bobbleheads, I think, of that, and maybe put them on our
Sell
merchandise store.
Sell it as an NFT.
That's yeah. There we go. That's
Trader TV NFT.
That was a professional segue there
Yes.
into our.
I love his beard. It's fantastic.
I told him it might need a little more length. Anyways, Justin's here. We're going to jump into a few hot topics for today. Interesting headlines, anyways. One of them coming out of an Italian car maker that is not the one you're thinking of, I bet.
Lamborghini, speaking of NFTs, and Lamborghini releasing their first NFT, because why not?
Why not? It's Lamborghini.
Because no one has ever done that before. They announced that the series of NFTs will be done in collaboration with a Swiss artist. And check out nft.lamborghini.com.
There you go.
It's kind of cool looking. I'd probably throw in some whatever for that. I don't know what it's going to look like. But every auction, they say, is going to last 75 hours and 50 minutes, which is the exact amount of time it took for Apollo 11 to leave Earth and enter the moon's orbit. So
cool.
Bit of a space connection there. So quite literally Lamborghini to the moon.
Yeah, but I was going to say a bit of an AMC tie-in there as well. It'll be interesting to see what that actually sells for, I think.
Yeah.
And what people are willing to pay.
I'm going to check that out, see what it goes for, and report back and see what it went for. It looks kind of neat, though.
Yeah, interesting idea. Apple, I mentioned that story. They're working on some software to turn phones into payment terminals, which is, I guess, a natural step for them, maybe.
Right. So they purchased the service, or they purchased this Canadian startup called MobiWave for $100 million back in 2020, and then they've been working on this ever since. Pretty simple stuff. I mean, if anybody has ever used NFC with their Android phone, they'll be familiar with how it works for Apple. Exact same technology. Looking to release this probably within the next couple months. The new version of iOS 15.4 is coming in beta and will likely be released this spring. So move over, Block. There's a new kid on the block, I guess. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, keep an eye on payments coming for Apple. NVIDIA Cloud Gaming coming to your LG TV, possibly.
Yep, so if you have an LG TV, for a compatible LG TV, you can download the GeForce Now app from the LG Content Store, and they're launching a bunch of games with it too, including Metro Exodus, Assassin's Creed 3, the deluxe edition, and they also have some interesting upscaling for different resolutions depending on your network bandwidth or the type of TV you have. And they also get free GeForce Now priority tier free with qualifying TVs between now and February 1st and March 27th. So if you have a new TV or got one for the holidays, now you've got some games to play on it.
It's great technology. Sean and I have said many times on the show, we love the NVIDIA Shield, which is the same, I guess, base system that might go into these TVs. But the gaming side of the NVIDIA Shield is amazing. It's essentially a terminal, like a gaming terminal, right inside of a streaming device. So this is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting. And it also you also get some of the best upscaling with certain NVIDIA GPUs if you can get your hands on one. So that'll be interesting to try.
So watch out for those update warnings on your LG smart TVs coming soon. Justin Kozach, Day Trade the World marketing guy. Thank you, sir. Check him out on Twitter, guys, at tradertv.Justin. Ask him some questions today. He'll come back later and answer them for you. Guys.
There we go. Good one there. And thank you always for Justin for coming in. But as Sean mentioned on Virgin Orbit, they got the NASA contract. That is the news. But the halt is actually, it's a limit halt. I double checked the website. It's not open in 5 minutes, which should mean it opens in 10 minutes. It is an actual limit halt, even though there is news on the deal. So on that deal news with NASA, we'd be looking at 10:54. So maybe 3 minutes or so, it should be back open up again. Getting right down towards that level at 105. AMD's not quite there yet. We're at 10. I mean, look, it printed here in the pre-market. You're going to see some levels down at 105.60 is that bottom, but it hasn't broken 106 yet. So until it breaks that price level or at least bounces at 106, I'm not looking to re-enter the trade. It's getting very close, obviously, but now Virgin Orbit is on my radar when it opens back up in 3 minutes, and possibly something that Trader Prad might be interested in as it goes to the moon. Well, that's a really garbage pun, but anyways, as it tries to go to the moon, Virgin Orbit should be open in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, Virgin Orbit, Space, another name, SPC, of course, you can look at that. I mean, that's probably above 10 now, isn't it? I mean, that was $70. No, $8 for Space? Okay. And again, I know that there's nothing to do with that NASA contract there, but wow, you want to talk about another name that is just, I didn't even realize it was this low. But all right, so we did get out of our AMD, so we will fall down a hole on that one there. But again, you know, taking that profit and then getting out right here, it's flat. I just hate to lose on that stock, but that's why we talk about, you know, having the success that we're able to have and still being here trading for an income after 20 years. You know, you got to be risk. You know, you got to put these risks on and off at certain times. And, you know, that's just one of those costs of doing business there. You're going to get out like that, and that's what that is. So we'll wait to see what happens there. Rivian, still the same thing. AMC bouncing around 15. It looks like that's going to be a good little hold spot. Definitely debating right now. I just want to see the futures try to go. Like, I think this could be a monster long right here, breaking out. Like 15-15 long to the upside if it goes. Just haven't really seen it get too excited yet. I'm almost thinking like 15-20 maybe as a better break, but AMC definitely building something special down here maybe to the downside. I mean, I never thought we'd get $3 in the money on Rivian, but that seems to be right. And then this is why I'm so glad, guys, that we got out of Netflix right there. You know, got out at 389 and now you're down to 380. So this could be a good reload spot as Netflix is kind of doing the same dance here as well. I just different feels right now for the NASDAQ as we thought, as it was up 1.2% in the pre-market. Remember me saying, I think this is probably going to go to the downside here and they're just going to crush this. Well, that's exactly what they did here today. So let's watch out. Crypto also taking a dump. But we have that right now with Brennan. So let's see what's going on over there in the crypto markets.
Yeah, still positive for the time being, but on the way back down, you can see Bitcoin here almost back to break even on the day. Ethereum as well, 1.8% was up. Way more than that when you joined us. If you joined us early on this morning, Ripple as well. Positive on the day. All about this guy up here, though, top of the board, the US dollar DXY, if you want to pull it up on a charting system. That is an hourly chart. Obviously coming off of the Fed, going to have big moves in the US dollar. So this is going back to midday yesterday, 95.5, all the way up to 97.25. Tons of strength coming into the US dollar. So the euro, the Canadian dollar, and the British pound all sharply lower off of that. Higher volatility has both the Japanese yen and Swiss franc back in positive territory. Australia, New Zealand, both lower as well. Turkey getting a bump today as well. But yeah, as we said, crypto's coming in, but still positive on the day. But big time strength, guys, in the US dollar.
So there's no strength in Tesla right now. And there's a question, someone was asking in the chat, why is Tesla going down so far? Like, yes, their earnings were great. Like, you can't say anything negatively about the growth that Tesla's been able to have. That's been true for a while now. But, you know, again, we're in a market situation where valuations matter. And from what I've been able to tell, and that was my experience getting into the long trade, like, most of the quote that I'm seeing in level 2, it's like quote stuffing. Like, it's just, it'll get to that price and the 100 shares, the couple 100 shares that post there, they're getting put and they're getting pulled very, very quickly. So not a lot of it's very liquid, especially on the bid. That's why I'm going to be waiting until 850. It had a double bottom on Monday at that price. I tried it off that 885. If I got it the first time, it would have given you the scalp win. I went there a second time, which is usually not a good idea, and ended up losing on it. So if it gets down to that 850, I'll go long one time in front, and if I don't get long in front the first time and it makes a bounce of like 10 to 15, maybe even 20 bucks, I won't try it a second time. It'll have to be a one and done for that trade. The other one, it was only 5 minutes to go, crazy. ARDS, it just finally broke another leg down. I've been waiting a little bit here after it took the $2 level. It just got to that 195, and I'm bidding it from 91s, 85 down to 175, and we'll see what happens. I might be in that one almost all day long. Virgin Orbit has opened back up. It got to about $10 here, and it's about to take out 10. Brendan?
All right, a couple minutes to go. Let's get a check on what's coming up tonight. Yet another big day, guys, for earnings tonight and tomorrow morning.
Is something besides Apple?
Yeah, there's lots of stocks.
Oh, goodness, yeah.
The funny thing is, we didn't even look at any stocks that reported today, but tomorrow we'll look at Apple and Robinhood. To me, that's all that it is. But right now, guys, we'll go diamond hands because we cash out of AMC. Look at this one, man. We just tweeted it out. Another one off the sticky note today. Downside, look at this, 1650 breaks, and then there's the 1550, and we just got out, guys, at 1483. So that's what that is right there on our favorite stock to short today was AMC. But really, realistically, my favorite stock to trade today is going to be Rivian. I mean, we only have one trade, but look at this move to the downside here, and we're still holding on to this trade. So we've only got a third of it, but at least we're holding on to it. A third of this trade right now there's Brendan again. We'll do like that. It's been a little bit of a roller coaster for the NASDAQ today, but hey, we're really, really happy. And it's been a big day for us here today. Only one trade that we've really messed up on, and we got away from it, which has been so good, man. Intel, I can't believe we got away from this trade and only wound up losing 25 cents. AMD is probably back up now, which is fine. This is a flat trade here, so we'll wait to see what happens with AMD. But I mean, super, super excited with the way the day's been. And join us back, man, at 2 o'clock. But get ready right now. In the next couple minutes, we're going to go over with Trader Pratt. Trader TV is not done, guys. We're never going to be done. We're going to keep coming back every single day. We're so happy to have Trader Pratt and Miss V take you in from 11 to 2 o'clock, and then we'll be back, back to trade the close from 2 to 4. It's a big day here as we get ready to rock and roll, man. It's, I don't know. I'm through the moon with the trading today, and even happier that Miss V has what day it is today. I already know what day it is, and I'm not even, so my wife last night made this kick-ass chocolate cake, and I'm gonna bet that that's what the day is. What's up, Miss V?
Yes, sir. And hey, team, thank you very much for spending this morning with us. I hope you are in a profitable territory. And also, thank you so much for all the support, for all the super chats, and for 2,500 likes. If you didn't like this video yet, please do so. Let's get to 3,000. It will be so fun. And as Sean said, please join Prad and me to continue trading. And happy National Chocolate Cake Day, everyone. I'm pretty sure Marissa did a great one.
All chocolate cake is great, but certainly that looks absolutely delicious. It doesn't even matter what type. There's like a million different types, but chocolate cheesecake is so good undercover. I just think it's absolutely fantastic. I'm going to quickly go over this playlist on VORB. If you've never seen this setup before, look, it halts, breaks $9, $10, which is an obvious round number. You get a failed break post halt at 10. It cannot get past the first obvious level, which was your quarters. It goes to 10.24. Once it breaks back below 10, I short it right below that price with a stop at the high of the day. The first quarter I get out, the next one in 9.50 I get out. I'm now sitting in front of 9.25. So that's a playbook I'll go to almost every single time on any kind of a halt trade, especially around those even dollar levels. There it is for VORB. But yeah, even like a Black Forest, like my mom's a huge Black Forest person. Even that's pretty good.
Yeah, we definitely like cheesecake. And shout out to my wife. Great cake last night. The kids absolutely loved it. And we got to have a sliver of it. And then, we'll see what happens tonight. She said we can have a little bit bigger piece there as she's doing something with that on Instagram. Okay, so just quickly here, look at this, man. We are now out, and we'll Gronk spike that one for, again, another monster win there for us on this. $2.50 there on this Rivian trade. So short. The diamond hands were held for this one. Big time movement to the downside. Almost have the bottom of the day on that name. And then just to check back in on AMC, what's that doing? Wow, we have the bottom tick on that one today as well. That's a good one. And everything's doing really well. So we're really happy with this. A nice comeback in the market as well. Should have held that AMD, but it just touched a little bit too low. And as you can see, we've already took out that 50 period right there. And we're not even close to it right now on AMD. So you got to still get above 108 on that name. But hey, all is well. It's been a huge show, and it's a monster show, guys.
And Randy is still hard at work, obviously, because a lot's going to be going on. I love it.
No, hardly working, remember.
Hardly working, certainly, but a man who will be working really hard for you, and a lady who will join as well. It's time for Market Movers. We're going to throw you right over to Trader Pratt and Miss V. Let's go.
Try to work as hard as those guys do and as hard as Miss V do, but welcome to Market Movers. I'm your host, Trader Pratt. This is the beautiful
Miss V. Thank you, Brad, and hey guys, thank you for joining us today. I hope you're having a great day so far. Please, as usual, be active on the chat, ask us